Chapter 1497. Li Fan stretched out his hands and a white bow appeared in his hands. He slowly drew the bow and aimed it at Jiang Feng. What's this? Jiang Feng sensed an ominous aura from the bow and arrow. Why don't you take a guess? Li Fan smiled. He wasn't going to tell Jiang Feng. He would let him suffer a loss first. The White Tiger Divine Bow was also a divine weapon. Theoretically, it should be able to kill Jiang Feng. However, the time he could use this divine weapon was limited. The battle with Liao Ju had consumed a lot of his inner energy. He could only use this godly bow for less than 2 minutes. Li Fan quickly drew the bow and aimed it at Jiang Feng. Although there were no arrows, Jiang Feng felt a terrifying sense of threat, causing cold sweat to drip from his forehead. Li Fan suddenly pulled the bowstring into a full moon shape and released it. The tight bowstring produced dust in the air. Jiang Feng immediately bent down and squatted on the ground. His forehead was covered in cold sweat and his body was trembling slightly. This time, he had tasted the power of the White Tiger Divine Bow. Li Fan did not want to waste any more time. 2 minutes. If he did not die, then Jiang Feng would be finished. He drew the bowstring again. However, Jiang Feng was already prepared. He released his doppelganger to entangle Li Fan while he jumped out of the window and escaped. Damn, this guy is smart. Li Fan could not do anything about his opponent escaping. He kept the White Tiger Divine Bow and adjusted his aura to return to its original state. Li Fan's arm also slowly returned to its original state. For a moment, a feeling of emptiness appeared in Li Fan's body. This battle had used up too much of his strength. However, looking at the martial emperor's corpse, Li Fan also heaved a sigh of relief. He had finally won. This guy would no longer be a threat in the future. For the sake of insurance, Li Fan set fire to the martial monarch's corpse and burned it together. This should be foolproof. Li Fan stretched his back. Today's mission was successful. It was time for him to go back. Li Fan. Liao Wushuang suddenly jumped in from the window and stepped forward to help the stumbling Li Fan. A fragrance wafted over. This familiar fragrance made Li Fan feel at ease. Teacher Liao, why are you back? The martial emperor's body was burnt to ashes. Li Fan was afraid that Liao Wushuang would see it, so he quickly turned her to the other side. I'll be fine. Liao Wushuang naturally knew what Li Fan was thinking, so she gave Li Fan a reassuring smile. I was worried about you, so I came back to take a look. My teacher Liao, why are you so silly? Where we come from, this is called caring. Liao Wushuang transferred some of her internal force to Li Fan so that Li Fan could recover faster. Don't worry, I'm full of energy. Even if Jiang Feng comes back, I can still fight him. Li Fan said confidently. Idiot, you're still so stubborn. I have your joy goo. Do you think I don't know your current state? Liao Wushuang looked at Li Fan with some heartache. You're obviously still a child. Can't you act coquettishly to me or something? How can a man act coquettishly? Li Fan hugged Liao Wushuang's slender waist. My teacher Liao, how come your waist is so thin? And some places are so big, a devil's figure. Go to hell, you just recovered a little and you're already acting so indecent. Liao Wushuang ruthlessly glared at Li Fan, but at this time, Li Fan's hand was still wandering around Liao Wushuang's body. So, this place is not good. Liao Wushuang's face immediately turned red, and she quickly and gently pulled away Li Fan's hand. You've been locked up for so many days, I'm worried about your body. Li Fan had a look of concern on his face. That's why I have to give teacher Liao a checkup as soon as possible. With that, he moved his hand up and started to touch her body even more unscrupulously. You can't. Because of the He Huan Gu, Li Fan's caress made Liao Wushuang extremely sensitive. She felt that she couldn't bear it anymore. This place can't. What if Jiang Feng comes back? Him? Don't worry, he won't dare to come back. Li Fan can be said to have a good understanding of Jiang Feng. This kid is very cautious. I guess he will go back to recuperate, and then find an opportunity to kill me. That's not good. Worried. Liao Wushuang was touched by Li Fan, and her eyes were dripping with tears, making Li Fan's heart beat faster. It's been so long, it seems that I haven't eaten Teacher Liao. It's a bit of a waste. Li Fan continued to practice his technique on Liao Wushuang's body, making Liao Wushuang tremble, and her mouth was making a pleasant chant. As long as Li Fan works hard, he can push Liao Wushuang down. Although Liao Wushuang said no, her body is honest, unable to resist Li Fan's demand. Just when Li Fan was ready to push the boat with the current, he suddenly frowned, raised his head, and looked out the window. It seems that this is not a good place to do happy things, Li Fan said, holding Liao Wushuang in his arms. Liao Wushuang leaned on Li Fan, her body was still trembling, and her face was extremely red. This little lover. Halfway, why did he suddenly not want it? Teacher Liao, let's go back, there are other guests here, Li Fan said, and left the building with Liao Wushuang. Not long after they left, two figures appeared in the room. They are none other than Hua and Yu, who escaped before. Yu's mouth hung an ambiguous smile, while Hua's face was red, and her mouth kept making cold snorts. What a pervert! As a man, people also have normal needs. Yu said, squatted down, and looked at the scattered ashes on the ground. Hua, take out the magic weapon. Oomph! Hua took out a small bronze mirror from her waist and handed it to Yu. Actually, I'm really worried that the two of them will do it here. If the time is too long, even the gods will not be able to save this person. With that said, Yu pointed the ancient mirror at the ashes, and a golden light flew out, hitting the ashes. Time reversal. Activate. In the golden light, the ashes suddenly rolled up, and then, the fire that was extinguished started again, and the ashes slowly turned into a charred corpse, burning. Surprisingly, the fewer corpses there were, the clearer they became. After a while, the corpses returned to their original appearance, and the flames disappeared. Liao Ju lay on the ground, and then flew into the air. The wounds on his body started to reverse, and his heart returned to his body. In a few minutes, Liao Ju opened his eyes again, and let out a roar. I will not accept this. When he opened his eyes, he saw two strangers in front of him. Done. Yu smiled and handed the bronze mirror to Hua. Who are you? How dare you approach me? That. Liao Ju's hand emitted a black light, and he directly used the big phaseless technique to push it out. Chapter 1498. But the two of them are standing in front of him, and the great phaseless technique seems to be ineffective against them. Don't waste your energy, your power is useless against us. Jade crosses her arms, her face is filled with pride. We are deities from sky beyond sky, your low-level inner power is useless against us. Liao Ju frowns, sky beyond sky? Deities? Even if you are a deity, you cannot be rude to me. As Liao Ju speaks, he suddenly retracts his great phaseless technique and steps forward. He then uses Yellow Emperor rides the dragon and places his palm on Jade's chest. Jade does not even dodge, he is filled with confidence and does not care about Martial Emperor's attack. But immediately, his expression changes. Bang! Martial Emperor is still standing there, but Jade takes a step back with a bit of blood at the corner of his mouth. Seeing this scene, Hua, who is standing at the side, can't help but show some shock on her beautiful face. This man actually injured a deity from sky beyond sky? What deity? He is only SOSO. Liao Ju's face is filled with disdain, but his heart is slightly shocked. He used all of his strength in that palm. If it was someone else, he would have been smashed into pieces. But the opponent is only lightly injured? As expected of Martial Emperor, your ability is not bad. Jade wipes the blood at the corner of her mouth, and her face has returned to normal. Since you know how powerful I am, scram. Watch your tone. Hua Yu's face is filled with anger. If I hear you being rude again, I will destroy your body and soul. Calm down. Jade pulls her companion and starts to persuade Martial Emperor. Liao Ju, you are already dead. The two of us saved you. I am dead? How is this possible? Where are those two brats, Li Fan and Jiang Feng? Are they hiding? I am going to kill them. Time has turned back. You have lost a part of your memory. Jade stretches out her finger, and before Martial Emperor can react, she points at his forehead. At that instant, Streams of memories suddenly surged into the martial emperor's mind. In this memory, he sees his own death. What kind of demonic technique did you use? Liao Ju is furious. How could I die in their hands? Impossible. It is up to you whether you believe it or not. Jade shrugged. Since the two of us can save you, we can naturally turn you back into a skeleton. No, you've already been burned to ashes. Not even your bones are left. Jade's words caused the martial emperor's heart to tremble violently. Had he really lost? He was the chosen one, but he died in this place before he could accomplish his great cause? You don't have to die, and you can become an immortal. Jade started to tempt the martial emperor. As long as you are willing to be our representative, we can pass on true immortal arts to you, allowing you to sweep away all opponents in this world. I will not cooperate with anyone. How dare a mere mortal reject my offer? Hua Hua wanted to say something but was stopped by you. Martial monarch, why do you have to do this? Do you think you're very strong? At most, he was invincible in the human world. Moreover, there were two people who could kill him. Humans are nothing but ants. I'll let you see what a true expert is. With that, the jade touched the martial emperor's forehead again and transmitted some of the memories of the sky beyond heaven to the martial emperor. In an instant, the martial emperor's forehead was covered in cold sweat, his face was pale, and his body swayed. A man who was originally extremely domineering was now filled with despair. This is a heaven immortal? That's right. Jade nodded her head, but as long as you learn our immortal arts, you can also become an immortal. Even though you'll start off as an immortal slave, as long as you train hard, sooner or later you'll become a lower immortal, or even an upper immortal, or even the highest heaven immortal. Jade was like a demon, constantly tempting the martial emperor. Who knows, you might even become the emperor of the sky beyond heaven, as long as you have that ability. The prerequisite is that you have to listen to us and work for us. Choosing the martial emperor to be their representative was also the intention of the heaven immortals. Among Li Fan, Jiang Feng, and Liao Ju, they thought that Liao Ju's thoughts were the purest. He only wanted to become the strongest expert, the supreme emperor. Since that was the case, they could use divine arts and authority to attract him. As long as a person has a flaw, then he would have a price tag. After learning the true immortal arts, you'll be able to break free from the shackles of this body. From then on, you'll be immortal, and you won't have to worry about changing your body. Jade continued, think about it, what kind of life would that be? Wouldn't it be much happier than now? The martial emperor was indeed moved by Jade's words. All of this could be said to be very beneficial to him. Before, the martial emperor didn't know of the existence of the sky beyond heaven. He thought that he was the strongest in the world. But the appearance of Li Fan, Jiang Feng, and the sky beyond heaven put a heavy weight on his ambition. Only by learning the immortal arts can he improve further. You're right, I'm not willing to just be the emperor of humans. He raised his head and looked straight into Jade's eyes. I want to learn the immortal arts, I want to become immortal, I want to become an immortal emperor. Good ambition. Jade clapped her hands happily. I have high hopes for you. Come, let's sign a contract, then I can teach you the immortal arts. I still need to sign a contract? Of course, it's just a contract that guarantees that you'll complete our mission. It won't affect you much. You can refuse, but you'll lose the chance to become an immortal. How about it, do you want to sign? All right. The martial emperor agreed immediately. He doesn't have the right to refuse anymore. If he wants to win, he must become stronger. A true monarch could endure the pain of enduring hardships in order to gain courage. Liao Ju, you can definitely endure it. Martial emperor, this is the true immortal arts. You better remember it. With that, Jade once again stretched out her finger and tapped the martial emperor's forehead. A huge force instantly charged into the martial emperor's forehead. He screamed and then his body started to tremble. Jade has already retracted her finger, standing by the side, looking at the trembling martial emperor and sneering. If a mortal wants to learn this immortal art, he'll have to faint for at least 3 days and 3 nights. Flower said, we'll come and find him in 3 days. And as you wish. Jade nodded her head. Just as the two of them were about to leave, the martial emperor stopped trembling and stood up again, his eyes burning with flames. This is the true immortal art? The two immortals looked at the martial emperor in shock. He learned it just like that? How can a mortal digest such a huge amount of mental energy so easily? Without sleeping for a few days, he definitely won't be able to learn it. The mental art is indeed very long. We need to slowly digest it. It will probably take around a day or so. The martial emperor clasped his hands towards the two of them. If the two of you don't mind, you can stay here or come and find me in a day. We will come again in a day. Jade stuttered a bit. This martial emperor is actually so powerful. Chapter 1499. The moment Li Fan arrived at the villa, he received a summons from the 9th Directorate. He had no choice but to rush to the 9th Directorate's office. Little Li, you sure are cool. The moment he entered the office, he saw little Chen's envious face. What's wrong with me? Li Fan didn't understand. All he did was take a few more glances into the office. As usual, the office was still as empty as ever. There was only Jing, Director Yang, and Little Chen. Little Chen was wearing a police uniform and waiting for him at the door. As for Director Yang, he seemed to be reading some information. He had changed his hairstyle today, and it seemed to be a wig. And Jing poured coffee by the side, bending her back slightly. Her figure formed a seductive arc that made Li Fan couldn't help but take a few more glances. This girl's legs were really long. Most of the girls around Li Fan were long-legged girls. This seemed to be a unique preference he had for girls. Li Fan, you still know to come? And Jing leaned to the side and raised her coffee cup. She looked at Li Fan with a faint smile. I thought you would resign after coming once. Alright, the two of you, cut it out. Director Yang always protected Li Fan at critical moments. After all, only he knew how precious Li Fan was. Little Li is a special agent. He doesn't have to come usually. It's not like you don't know that. Director Yang, you're too biased. Little Chen wailed. Why don't I transfer to Special Agent 2? Nonsense. Do you think you can change a job arranged by the organization just because you want to? Director Yang criticized Little Chen harshly, making the latter pull a long face. Why don't you let me carry out this mission? Studying at university seems rather interesting. Who knows, I might be able to get a girlfriend. Little Chen volunteered again. And Jing, who do you think is more suitable for this mission? Director Yang wasn't in a hurry to object. Instead, he kicked the ball to Jing. Little Chen has a rash personality. Furthermore, he looks like an old single youth who has worked in society for many years. He's not suitable for this mission. And Jing's honest words dealt a huge blow to Little Chen. It's fine if it's a young man, but why did you add single? That's because you look like a single dog. This is too much. Personal attack. Little Chen felt wronged. Alright, quiet down. Continue. Director Yang gestured for Xiao Chen to stop complaining and continued to look at the only girl in the office. As for Li Fan, he's quite young, but a little too mature. However, there were also many boys like this in the university. Boys always like to pretend to be mature. The muddle-headed little Jing had a vicious tongue, leaving Li Fan speechless. Fuck, what was the meaning of pretending to be mature? Yes, Shaoli. This time, the higher-ups personally assigned you this task. That was exactly what Director Yang wanted. But sometimes you're too mature. That's not good. You have to regain your youthful vigor, like a vibrant college student. Li Fan smiled bitterly again and again. He had experienced so much and carried such a heavy burden. How could he still be full of vigor? Li Fan was also very envious of the cynical male protagonists in other novels. However, he couldn't be at ease. The last time Chun helped Li Fan do a mental age test, it was revealed that his mental age was in his 70s. This made Li Fan feel like he was on the verge of a breakdown. However, Li Fan felt that this had something to do with his martial arts realm. He had already reached the saint stage, so he was actually very indifferent to matters of the heart. The ancients said that to become an immortal, One had to sever their emotions and desires and reach the state of absolute oblivion. Perhaps if he wanted to reach that level, he would have to experience such a state. Li Fan didn't really want to become like that. Absolute oblivion. If a person didn't have emotions and desires, what was the point of living? Sometimes, Li Fan wanted to return to his past life as a warrior who had just started practicing martial arts. Back then, a bowl of spicy soup, a bowl of rice noodles, a beautiful woman's smile, or even a tiny victory in a sparring match would make Li Fan happy. But now, even though he had defeated a powerful expert like Martial Emperor, Li Fan only felt slightly relieved. He wasn't overjoyed. Returning to college seemed to be an opportunity for him to train his mental state again. After all, he was only in his early 20s. He didn't want to be like an old man who was unperturbed. That would be too boring. And Jing, tell Li Fan about the mission. Little Chen, arrange the itinerary. The two of you will be heading to the imperial capital for this mission and help Little Li with his peripheral work. Yes. Work matters had to be more serious, so Jing and Little Chen agreed. Our goal for this mission is very clear. It's to protect the leader's daughter, Liang Ru. And Jing pressed a switch on the table beside her. The office's doors and windows suddenly closed, and the entire room darkened. The wall pulled open, revealing a huge screen. The screen's light reflected on everyone's faces, making them look somewhat mysterious. And Jing pointed at the girl on the screen and introduced, she's 19 this year. She's a second-year student in the Imperial Capital University's music department. She's majoring in violin. In the photo, Liang Ru was also wearing a white dress. Her long black hair draped over her shoulders as she focused on playing the violin. The sunlight shone on her face, making her look radiant. She was so beautiful that no one dared to look straight at her. That leader was truly blessed to have such a beautiful and elegant daughter. In order to allow you to successfully approach Liang Ru, we have arranged for you to be a second-year transfer student in the music department. Wait, Li Fan suddenly interrupted Liang Ru. Are you kidding me? I don't know a thing about music. You can be groomed. After you reach the imperial capital, you will be given simple music training. By the way, the information says that you also know some disguise techniques. Although I don't know what they are, you will have to use them when the time comes. Although Li Fan was already a has-been internet celebrity, Jing recalled his face. Even if he was a has-been, he was still popular. Once Li Fan's identity was exposed, it would probably increase the difficulty of the mission. That's not a problem. I can do it. But how simple is simple music training? 3 days. Jing raised 3 fingers. Li Fan was on the brink of a mental breakdown. Fuck, he wants to train me to have musical talent in 3 days? Are you kidding me? Perhaps I can choose to sing? Using my inner strength to transmit my voice would have a very powerful effect. We will hire the most professional master to train you. Don't worry. Jing also felt that the time was a little short, but the mission's time was limited. The summer break will end in 3 days. When the time comes, it will be time for you to shine. Li Fan, all the best. I will do my best to help you. Chapter 1500. The imperial capital's National Security Bureau's 9th Bureau had more people than the Spanish fishes. Li Fan even saw the legendary Lu Bu's exoskeleton armor. It was indeed much cooler than Zhang Fei's. It could be seen from Little Chen's glowing eyes. After arriving here, Director Yang naturally didn't have the final say. A female director with the surname Ho took over. Director Ho looked to be in her 30s. She looked very capable and had a bearing. She was much smarter and more energetic than Li Fan's Director Yang. No matter what avatars you had in the past or how high your rank was, once you're here, I have the final say. Just as Li Fan and Jing came to report, the female director gave them a show of strength. Jing, Little Chen, immediately begin the assistance training. You have 3 days. You have to meet the requirements. The female director began assigning tasks. Li Fan, you have to receive music training. Follow me? She was wearing a red trench coat, and she was in a hurry to do things. The female director led Li Fan all the way to a room at the side. Li Fan entered and saw that the room wasn't small. It had 2 bedrooms and a living room with an area of about 100 square meters. There were simple living facilities in the room. In the middle of the living room were a few musical instruments, such as a piano, cello, violin, saxophone, flute, etc. This will be your dormitory for the next 3 days. There are all kinds of daily necessities in the room. If you don't have enough, you can submit a request, the female director said. The female division chief said, and these musical instruments were supposed to be learned by you. But considering that time is limited, just pick one. Isn't there a swona or something? I like nationalistic musical instruments. Cut the chatter. Quickly choose. The female director glanced at the time. We don't have much time left. You have to make good use of every minute. From today onwards, you will sleep for 2 hours a day. Other than that, you will receive training. 2 hours? I definitely won't be able to rest well that way. Li Fan clicked his tongue. Aren't you guys being too ruthless? Li Fan grumbled incessantly. If he had known, he would have gotten Chun, or to take care of his daily life. Coming here was no different from suffering. Assault training. The mission is heavy, but the time is short. The female director rejected Li Fan's protest without hesitation. We will use a drug to make you fall into a deep sleep instantly. 2 hours is enough for you to recover your brain cells. Li Fan was convinced. This female director was really ruthless. Choose one. I suggest you don't choose the piano. The female director said, this course is more difficult. It will take a long time for you to learn it. Heh, I'm still choosing the piano. Li Fan's temper flared up. Damn it, he was looked down upon by this female director. No matter what, he had learned how to play the flute from Jiang Yi before. It seems that Shen knows how to play the piano. If I had known earlier, I would have learned from her. That little girl was a musical genius. She might be able to teach him some techniques. You're a special agent chosen by the organization. You shouldn't be so willful. The female director frowned slightly and reminded Li Fan. This isn't being willful. This is a challenge. Li Fan stretched his muscles and said, I'll try my best. Willful. Too willful. The female director seemed to be somewhat dissatisfied. However, the choice of the instrument must be based on Li Fan's subjective opinion. After all, a subjective desire to learn is more active than a passive desire. Contact teacher Christina and ask her to come over. The female director ordered. Soon, a blonde middle-aged female teacher walked in. She was wearing a beautiful gown. She walked to Li Fan's side and gently opened the cover of the piano. From today onwards, I will be your teacher. You must listen to my orders. This foreign female teacher used English to communicate with Li Fan. Teacher, please take care of me. Li Fan was quite polite to this teacher. As for the female director, Li Fan felt that she was bossy and made him uncomfortable. Li Fan was like this. He was famous for being amenable to coaxing but not coercion. Okay, let's begin. I'll teach you the song first. I don't need the finger technique. I'll teach you while you practice the song. According to their plan, Christina had to let Li Fan successfully play 3 famous songs within 3 days. As long as he knew these 3 songs, Li Fan would be able to handle ordinary piano playing. Okay, then I'll have to trouble you, teacher. Li Fan did not have much of a foundation. However, after practicing the 9 truths technique, his understanding of heaven and earth had improved. He had also made great progress in his studies. Moreover, Li Fan knew the law embodiment of heaven and earth, so he could quickly grasp the enemy's moves. His understanding of the piano had also improved. Li Fan was a fast learner. If there was something he did not understand, he would ask Christina to play it again. As long as he watched her play it once, Li Fan would immediately learn the song. This made Christina exclaim, "Oh my God!" Initially, Li Fan's technique was very poor. He was a complete layman. However, as long as he watched her play it once, his finger technique would be modified to perfection. It was as if he was an old musician who had practiced for many years. Originally, she wanted to teach him 3 songs and end it. However, she could not control herself and let Li Fan learn 7 to 8 songs in a day. When Li Fan played these 7 to 8 songs, he sounded like a real musician. There were no flaws at all. However, other than these songs, it would be impossible for Li Fan to play other music according to the score. It would be a complete mess. Your imitation ability is really strong. However, your actual piano skills are still very low. However, if you want to learn, you can improve very quickly. Thank you, teacher, but I don't have much time to learn. Li Fan was a little regretful, but the mission was more important. Other things could be put aside for now. Then I'll do my best to teach you more songs. Christina seemed to be very interested in Li Fan. She began to teach more songs to Li Fan. From etudes to world-famous songs. On the first day, Li Fan learned 10 songs. As the saying goes, one should not bite off more than one can chew. For the rest of the time, Christina let Li Fan practice more to consolidate these songs. The female director left Li Fan with the piano teacher and left him alone. She did not seem to be very optimistic about Li Fan. Li Fan was happy to be free. It was good that no one cared about him. In the past few days, his task was to train the piano, which molded Li Fan's character. In 3 days, he learned more than 30 songs. Christina was very emotional. If only Li Fan had more time to learn. She could definitely cultivate this young man into a piano master. You're done. On the 3rd night, Christina said softly to Li Fan, I wish you success in your mission. Chapter 1501. 3 days later, the female director came to check on Li Fan's work. Have you learned a song in the past 3 days? The female director looked at Li Fan and asked in disdain. This guy is stubbornly insisting on learning the most difficult piano. I'm afraid he hasn't even learned a single song until today. It's fine as long as you can play 1/3 of it. That's not a high requirement, right? I heard that this kid is quite strong, but his music level is just so-so. As long as no one doubted Li Fan's identity, everything else was easy. It's alright. I barely know a little. Li Fan said, honestly, Teacher Christina said that my imitation ability is pretty good. Then play it. I'll listen. The female director did not have high expectations for Li Fan. She crossed her arms and stood by the side, waiting for Li Fan to barely meet the requirements. Li Fan placed his hands on the black and white keyboard and started playing. The female director was impatient at first, but when she heard Li Fan start playing, her expression gradually changed. Li Fan is playing, not bad. Is this really played by a beginner who has only learned for 3 days? It doesn't sound any different from a piano master. That smooth rhythm and cheerful tune made the female director feel as if she had grown a pair of wings. She flew out of the dull office and into the green outdoors. She looked at the stream flowing in front of her and the animals playing in front of her. The female director hurriedly shook her head to wake herself up. This is unbelievable. Li Fan was still playing. Although the female director had a stomach full of questions, she could not bear to interrupt Li Fan. When Li Fan finished playing the song, she was still in shock and only came back to her senses after a long time. Director Ho? Can I? Li Fan's voice woke her up. Not bad. Director Ho suddenly came to her senses and quickly asked Li Fan, have you practiced the piano before? No, it's my first time seeing it. It's quite interesting. Li Fan seemed to like it. When I get to school, I should be able to learn more. Don't forget the mission. The female director was speechless. What was this Li Fan doing here? Yes, I will definitely protect Liang Ru. Please rest assured. To protect her for 3 months, Li Fan felt that he could still do it. In this world, the number of people who could hurt people around him could be counted on one hand. There are 3 things that you must remember. The director extended 3 fingers and instructed Li Fan again. First, you must protect Liang Ru. Don't let her get hurt. Second, you absolutely cannot expose your identity. Thirdly, and most importantly, remember that Liang Ru is the target of your protection. You absolutely cannot develop any feelings for her. You're protecting her. You can't flirt with her. Do you understand? Don't worry, I'm not a Casanova. I won't do that. Li Fan patted his chest and said, "Please believe in my mission and my professional ethics. I definitely won't do such an inhumane thing." "That's good. Don't let down the trust that the organization has in you." The female director nodded. "You can have a good rest for the rest of the time. Tomorrow morning, report to Imperial Capital University." "Yes, leader." Li Fan stretched and thought that he could finally rest. Capital University seems to be worth looking forward to. At this moment, in another distant city, Lu Zhu was sitting in her room, seemingly studying something. At this moment, the television screen beside her suddenly lit up, and a man appeared on it. "Leader." Lu Zhu got a shock and hurriedly knelt down in front of the television screen. "Greetings, leader. Why didn't you go to the Li family island?" The man on the television was none other than Li Wei, the leader of the cult. He looked at Lu Zhu and went straight to the point. "Leader, the Li family is far away, and I still have a lot of things to settle in China. So, I didn't go with you." Lu Zhu answered honestly. Li Fan has been to the capital recently. The hierarch sent a message to Lu Zhu. "I need you to continue lurking around him and help me retrieve something." What is it? Lu Zhu was a little surprised. She didn't expect the leader to be interested in Li Fan for the first time. "The nine-tailed divine fox. Bring me the pearl that the nine-tailed divine fox has transformed into," Li Wei ordered. But, leader, what's the matter?" Li Wei asked sternly. "Have you been with Li Fan for too long that you've forgotten who you belong to? Do you want to apostatize?" "I wouldn't dare," Lu Zhu hurriedly said. "I'm loyal to the cult and would never dare to apostatize." "That's good." Li Wei nodded. "Remember your identity at all times. Do your job well and don't let me down." After saying that, he turned off the video. Lu Zhu felt a little weak and slumped onto the ground in exhaustion. Lu Zhu was in a dilemma. He was in a difficult position. On one hand, there was Li Fan, and on the other hand, there was the leader. He was stuck in the middle and felt like dying. "Defend. I hope you don't blame me this time. I have no other choice." Lu Zhu could only sigh and slowly stood up as if he had understood something. He patted his cheeks gently. The leader had given him a new lease on life, and he reckoned that it wouldn't affect Li Fan much if he just obtained the pearl of the nine-tailed divine fox. Li Fan had gone to the capital university. It seemed that he had a mission to carry out. In that case, he should think of a way to sneak into the capital university. It was not a university that he could enter just because he wanted to. After all, it was the most famous university in China. Lu Zhu suddenly thought of something and took out his mobile phone to make a call. "Hello, is this Minister Li?" "Yes, it's me. I can teach you the technique you wanted to learn from me last time." "Yes, you have to promise me something first." The next morning, Li Fan walked into the capital university with a satchel on his back. The capital university could be said to be the most famous university in China. It had nurtured many outstanding talents and produced many famous and great people. When Li Fan was in high school, he also admired this place. However, he only dared to think about it and had no intention of getting into the university. The only one around him who could easily get into the capital university was Lin Yuhc. However, for the sake of Li Fan, the little girl had gone all the way to Ji University to chase after him. Although he felt a little guilty to Lin Yuhc for coming to the capital university to study, it was for the mission after all. The mission was more important. It was time for the new students to start school. The capital university was bustling with people. Many of the new students were full of ambition and expectations for their new life. Occasionally, there would be couples, some walking, some riding bicycles, passing by him. At the university, Li Fan could smell the scent of love. Chapter 1502. He remembered that when he first went to Ji University, he met his fated Lu Wan. But would he be able to have any romantic encounters in Imperial Capital University? Li Fan, oh Li Fan. Don't forget, you're here to carry out a mission. Sure enough, a quiet voice came from his earphones, which had grains of rice in his ears. "Li Fan, walk in front of you. The white building in front of you is the Academic Affairs Office." Go to the Academic Affairs office and look for Dean Ho. He'll arrange everything for you.
But
Li Fan nodded and retracted his gaze from the legs of the girls around him. The university campus was really good. There were little female juniors in miniskirts everywhere, making people unable to help but linger on. At this time, Li Fan had already changed his appearance slightly. He looked similar to before, but upon closer inspection, there were some differences. This way, his identity wouldn't be exposed. At this time, Li Fan's appearance was also very ordinary. In order to keep a low profile, Li Fan specially cut off his long hair and made a clean crew cut. He wore a white shirt with a black Korean-style tie, black trousers, and white running shoes. He looked like an ordinary university student. There was nothing special about him. If others knew that the famous little tyrant of the pugilistic world had come here to be an ordinary university student, their jaws would definitely drop. At this time, Li Fan had even prepared a new identity. He changed his name to Li Yun and came from an ordinary family. His parents were ordinary workers. Why is the university so big? Li Fan looked at the long road and couldn't help but feel a little depressed. In the past, when he was at G University, he felt like he had to walk thousands of miles to attend a class. Now that he was at Imperial Capital University, he felt like the world was wider. Forget it, stop complaining. Let's open the way. Li Fan carried his backpack and was about to hurry on his way. At this time, a girl suddenly rushed over from the side. She was riding a bicycle and headed straight for the man-made lake at the side. Li Fan was shocked. What was going on? Was he going to use a bicycle to float on water? He took a closer look. My goodness, this young lady was none other than the leader's daughter, Liang Ru. The bicycle just happened to brush past Li Fan. Liang Ru had a ponytail today and was wearing sportswear. She exclaimed repeatedly. At this time, Li Fan reached out his hand and grabbed the back seat of the bicycle, pulling the bicycle. Li Fan was just doing it casually. After stopping the bicycle, he pretended not to care and left. It was still early, so he absolutely could not expose his identity. Almost no one saw Li Fan make a move. The surrounding people who were attracted by Liang Ru's screams only saw Liang Ru's bicycle rush past an unremarkable boy, and then the bicycle slowed down. Strange, Liang Ru got off the bike and checked her bike. Li Fan stood at the side and looked at it. Her bicycle seemed to be expensive. It was not something that an ordinary family could afford. However, according to the information, although Liang Ru's father was a national leader, her mother was the boss of a multinational group. Her family's conditions had always been good. Why did the brake suddenly break? I hate it, Liang Ru said as she suddenly raised her head. She saw Li Fan standing at the side and pointed at him. You come here. Me. Li Fan pointed at his nose. He was a little nervous. What did she mean? Did my identity get exposed? Come here and help me fix my bike. What? Li Fan was stunned. Fix his bike? Yes, it's you. Is there anyone else here? Liang Ru spoke impolitely. She stopped her bike in front of Li Fan and pointed at the bike. Fix it? Do I look like someone who fixes cars to you? I don't care. You just need to fix it. Liang Ru's tone was very unfriendly. Li Fan was so angry that he laughed. I can't be bothered with you. Fix it yourself. Li Fan said, I'm only responsible for your safety, but I'm also responsible for fixing your bike? Crazy. Liang Ru, I'll help you fix it. Let me do it. The opportunity is mine. A group of boys suddenly rushed out from the side and rushed to Liang Ru's side. After all, she was a beautiful campus belle. Even if they did not know Liang Ru's identity, just based on her wealth and beauty, men would flock to her like ducks. No need. Liang Ru threw a small tantrum. She pointed at Li Fan and forcefully ordered, I want you to fix it. So what if you're pretty? You have such a big temper. Li Fan rolled his eyes. Do you think you're a princess? I have to obediently follow your words? I don't care. You have to fix my bike. I can't be bothered with you. Li Fan rolled his eyes, turned around, and left. This Liang Ru was really spoiled. But how did her bike's brake break? Everything was fine. Could it be that someone had done it secretly? Thinking of this, Li Fan felt that it was better to monitor Liang Ru a little more. White tiger! Li Fan called out in his heart. The white tiger tattoo on his shoulder suddenly came to life. This white tiger left Li Fan's body and transformed into a form that others could not see. Then, like a gust of wind, it attached itself to Liang Ru's back. This was a new ability of the white tiger that Li Fan discovered. It could summon the white tiger avatar and place it on someone else's body to sense the situation of others. If the other party was in danger, he would be able to detect it immediately. The dragon girl was right. The 4 sacred beasts had many uses. However, the 4 holy towers could not be easily conquered. Otherwise, he would have taken them down in one go. Damn it, you actually dare to reject me. You're dead. Liang Ru angrily stomped her feet at Li Fan. Little Ru, don't care about that idiot. I'll find someone to help you repair your bike. A well-dressed young man walked over and spoke gently to Liang Ru. Who needs you to care? Go die. Liang Ru did not seem to want to pay attention to this young man. She threw the broken bike to the side and left in a huff. Little Ru, don't be angry. Let's have a meal together. The young man shouted a few times, but Liang Ru ignored him. Seeing Liang Ru swinging her ponytail and striding away with long legs, the young man's eyes could not help but burn. Brother, what should we do? A lackey walked over and asked the young man. She must like me. This young man was called Luo Nan. He was the son of a big merchant in the capital. His family was rich enough to rival a country. However, it was also because of this that they needed a political marriage to tie their family to the big car that was politics. The Liang family was a red family with roots in the red. Liang Ru's great-grandfather was a famous founding general. Her grandfather was a hero who resisted the US and aided Korea. Unfortunately, Liang Ru did not have any thoughts of becoming an official. Otherwise, everything would have been smooth sailing. Brother, why are you so sure? She's just shy, that's all. Luo Nan instructed his lackey, investigate that kid just now. He actually made my wife angry. I must teach him a lesson. Chapter 1503. Li Fan, of course, did not know that he had been targeted. At this time, he was busy reporting to the Academic Affairs Office. Director Ho. Director Ho, you look familiar. Li Fan looked at the woman in her 30s in front of him and could not help but frown. Really? Everyone says that I have a common face. The other party looked at Li Fan with a serious face and checked his information. You are an exchange student from the Shanghai Music Academy. Why didn't you finish your studies there and chose to come here? Li Fan rolled his eyes, thinking, why don't you know better than me? This was none other than the female director of the 9th Bureau of the State Security. He did not expect that she would also participate in the mission and personally come here to be the Academic Affairs Office. It seemed like it was also to make it easier for him to act. But she deliberately asked him this question to test his adaptability. I think it's better to do art in the imperial capital. Li Fan naturally replied, although the Shanghai Music Academy is good, I should be able to get better training here. Of course, our teachers here are very good. When this female director spoke, she was very proud as if she was really a member of the school. What a beautiful acting, impeccable. Choosing us is the best choice for you. I heard that you are best at piano. Have you participated in any competitions? Not yet. I want to wait until my skills are more proficient before participating in the competition. Li Fan's adaptability was very good. His answer was smooth and natural. There was no fault to be found. That's good. Because the ordinary dormitory is full, there is only one student dormitory for you to use. However, this student dormitory is generally for international students, so the cost is much more expensive than ordinary dormitory. I can work. I can pay for the expenses myself. Li Fan quickly agreed. Who wouldn't be willing to live in a better place? But he already understood that this was not a coincidence. It was because Liang Ru lived in the student dormitory. Arranging him there was just to make it convenient for him to protect her. The dormitory key is in the dormitory management office. This is your student ID. After completing the remaining procedures for Li Fan, the female director sent Li Fan away. Li Fan walked out of the academic affairs office and headed to his apartment. Because the school was too big, he had to turn on the navigation on his phone to find the location of the Imperial Capital University's student dormitory. Oh my God, why is this school so big? It's almost the size of a small town. Li Fan looked at the map on his phone and could not help but sigh. No matter what, it was the #1 academy. It was truly astonishing. But now that there was a GPS, it was really quite convenient. With his speed, he quickly found the apartment. The student dormitory had a total of 12 floors, and each room should have its own entrance. The windows were all connected to a very spacious balcony. Many of the balconies were hung with clothes, and many of them were even hung with bras and panties. This made Li Fan blush. Good heavens, after living in this place for a long time, don't tell me you've lost nutrients quickly. Li Fan laughed dryly, then put away his random thoughts and walked into the apartment building. The manager of the apartment building was an auntie in her 40s. She was knitting a sweater while sitting in front of the TV watching a health program. "Young man, wait a minute. I've never seen you before." The auntie was still very responsible. When she saw Li Fan, she immediately stopped him. "Hello, auntie. I'm a new student." "New student? Haven't all the new students checked in? Don't try to fool me. Be careful of your credits." The auntie was really ruthless in order to prevent idlers from entering. "I won't. This is my student ID. Please take a look." Li Fan was very sweet. He took out his student ID and placed it in front of the auntie. The auntie put on her presbyopic glasses and took a look. Then she carefully looked at Li Fan's appearance. "Leon? Yes. It's really. Here, this is your key. You live in room 1203. The auntie reminded Li Fan, "Remember, in the apartment, you are not allowed to use electrical appliances that are too powerful, pets are not allowed, and you are not allowed to spend the night with the opposite sex. If anyone comes looking for you, they must register with me. The apartment closes at 11 at night. You are not allowed to enter after that time. Do you remember?" Yes. I remember. "Auntie, you are really very responsible." Li Fan was very clear. If he wanted to live in school, he must have a good relationship with the auntie. "Auntie, these are some local specialties that I brought from my hometown. Try it." Li Fan took out some local Shanghai snacks from his bag and handed them to the auntie. You're quite courteous, little fellow." "I will accept the food. Hurry up and settle in. If you need anything, remember to look for me." "Thank you, auntie. I will definitely not give you any trouble." "Hurry up." "Oh right, the hot water will be provided until 10 at night. Use your card. Remember to top up your one-card at the student service station." "Thank you, auntie. I got it." Li Fan successfully won over the auntie. Then he took his apartment key and walked into the elevator. There was only one elevator in the apartment. Li Fan felt that it was a little too little. When he entered the elevator, he realized that the elevator could only go up to the 6th floor and above. It seemed that he could only walk up from the 6th floor. What a deceptive setting. Who designed the elevator back then? Li Fan was puzzled. He pressed the button for the 12th floor and waited for the elevator door to close slowly. At this moment, a familiar voice came from outside. "Wait a minute. Don't close the door." Li Fan vaguely felt that the voice was familiar. Isn't this Liang Ru? Damn, why did I meet her here? The two of them had just quarreled. It was better not to meet her. It was too awkward to be in the same elevator. Li Fan quickly pressed the button to close the door. He wished that the elevator would not close and go up. Seeing that the elevator door was about to close, Li Fan was relieved. As long as he went up and entered the room quickly, everything would be okay. Everything would be fine. But who would have thought that a small foot wearing a canvas shoe would suddenly stretch in and get stuck in the middle of the elevator door? Damn, Li Fan couldn't help but curse. This woman was too stubborn, wasn't she? The elevator door sensed the obstacle and slowly opened, revealing a beautiful girl full of youthful energy. "It's you?" Liang Ru saw Li Fan and was furious. She wrinkled her nose. "You bastard. Why did you close the door? The elevator door closed by itself. It has nothing to do with me. Li Fan shrugged his shoulders, indicating that he was innocent. Damn it. You're not a gentleman at all. Liang Ru glared at Li Fan. She suddenly understood something. When the elevator door closed, she suddenly pressed down on Li Fan's neck with both hands. Then, she lifted one of her legs and put her knee on Li Fan's crotch. Say it. Why are you following me? Chapter 1504. Liang Ru was too close. Although the little girl was fierce, the fragrance on her body still floated into Li Fan's nose. Speak, why are you following me? Exposed? Li Fan immediately thought of this question, but there was no silence in the earpiece. He was afraid that Liang Ru would hear him if he spoke at such a close distance. Li Fan was a little nervous. He felt a cold sweat appear on his forehead, but he immediately used his internal force to suppress it. He was the little overlord of the underworld. He couldn't even handle this kind of situation. Oh, looking at Liang Ru at such a close distance, she was really pretty. Speak. Liang Ru seemed to have practiced some karate or something. She was quite strong as she threatened Li Fan fiercely. Your eyelashes are quite nice. Of course. Who asked you about this? Liang Ru's cheeks were a little red. She pressed down on Li Fan's neck a little harder. Cough cough. Are you going to kill me? Li Fan asked. If you do anything evil I will. Well, I will make you wish you were dead. Liang Ru pretended to be very fierce. Speak. Don't change the topic. Who is following you? You are too arrogant. Li Fan rolled his eyes. I live on the 12th floor, okay? But I know everyone on the 12th floor. When did you join? You were the one who followed me. Tell me the truth. Do you have paranoia? Li Fan asked. Why would I follow you? Because you are a pervert. Liang Ru said without hesitation. I have seen a lot of perverts like you. That's enough. You keep calling me a pervert. Li Fan signaled with his eyes. Look, between the two of us, who is more of a pervert? Of course it's you. You are the one who used force on me, okay? But you are so shameless. Do you not understand words? Li Fan found it very funny. You should let me go now. The elevator is about to arrive. I have to go back to the dormitory early. I'm so scared by you that I have to sleep in to calm myself down. If you don't tell me why you followed me, I won't let you go. All right then, you can continue to push me like this. I won't resist. Li Fan decided to play the rogue. He closed his eyes and pretended to be dead. Seeing Li Fan's attitude, Liang Ru was infuriated. She wanted to ask a few more questions, but the elevator door opened at this time. You're not allowed to follow me, or you're dead. Liang Ru finally let go of Li Fan, but after giving him a warning, she turned around and walked inside. Li Fan sighed. In order to avoid trouble, he decided to wait for Liang Ru to return to her room. Thus, Li Fan simply took the elevator and waited for it to return to the first floor. After a while, he went back to the 12th floor. Unexpectedly, when the elevator door opened, a certain girl actually crossed her arms and stood there, looking at him with a smug face. It was as if the little miss had already guessed it. This was a bit awkward. Humph, I knew it. You are a perverted stalker. Liang Ru fiercely looked at Li Fan. Quickly say it. What is your purpose? My purpose. Li Fan walked forward step by step. His eyes stared at Liang Ru as he slowly walked to her side. What are you doing? Liang Ru suddenly became nervous from Li Fan's stare. She subconsciously took 2 steps back. That is to quickly go back to sleep. You idiot! Li Fan took the opportunity when Liang Ru stepped back and quickly walked away from her side. Bastard! Where are you going? Liang Ru originally wanted to chase after him. Suddenly, she saw Li Fan take out a key and open the door to room 1203. Her entire face turned red. This little girl's face turned red all the way to her ears. She did not react for a long time. Goodbye, silly girl. Li Fan winked at Liang Ru. Before she could react, he immediately closed the door and entered his room. Damn it. This woman is really hard to deal with. After closing the door, Li Fan finally let out a sigh of relief. I am a dignified little tyrant. To actually be messed up by a woman. This is really embarrassing. If this were to spread out, Yen Kai and the rest would probably laugh their heads off. The room was very clean. 1 bedroom and 1 bathroom. The entrance was the kitchen. A single bed was placed by the window. In the room, there was a bookshelf, a wardrobe, and a computer table. There was nothing else. The decoration was relatively simple. It was suitable for students to stay in. However, a girl was in the room, laying the bed sheet for Li Fan. What the? Master, you are back. The pretty girl saw Li Fan coming in. She walked over happily and bowed to Li Fan. Chiu Er? Why you here? Looking at Chiu Er, who was only wearing an apron and was almost naked, Li Fan was a little stunned. Then he swallowed his saliva. Master, we are worried that you are not used to living here alone. Especially when we heard that the food in the cafeteria is terrible. Therefore, Chiu Er specially rushed over to serve Master. This is a mission. Aren't you causing trouble by coming over? Li Fan did not know whether to laugh or cry. Moreover, why are you dressed like this? That's true. Chiu Er did not expect Master to come back so quickly. Therefore, she is not dressed appropriately. How about this, Master? You go to the toilet first. I will have to trouble you to stay here for a while. Chiu Er will change her clothes and then call you out? All right. Li Fan let out a sigh of relief. Chiu Er's appearance was really tempting to commit a crime. He could not walk further and further down the road of crime. He had to stop in time. Li Fan entered the toilet and closed the door. This toilet should have been cleaned by Chiu Er. It was very clean. She even used a fragrance to make it a little warm. Done. A muffled shout came from outside. Li Fan opened the toilet door and saw a naked girl. She had tied herself up tightly with a rope. Even her mouth was stuffed with her underwear. She was lying on the bed and shouting at him. Li Fan quietly closed the toilet door. Master, this time I am really done changing. Come out. Li Fan did not open the door. Master, Chiu Er did not lie to you. If I lied to you, you can spank Chiu Er's butt, and you can do something fiercer. Fiercer? Li Fan wanted to sleep on the floor in the toilet. Master, sob, Chiu Er really changed. Hearing Chiu Er's sobbing voice, Li Fan then opened the door. He saw that Chiu Er had indeed changed into a loose t-shirt and a pair of ordinary black trousers. She looked at him with a wronged expression. That's more like it. Li Fan sat in front of the computer and took out his luggage. Master, you must be hungry. Chiu Er will cook for you. Chiu Er tried to curry favor with Huiyu Hao as she prepared to cook. She had even bought all the kitchen supplies. Chapter 1505. Although Chiu Er's personality was a little unreliable, her cooking skills were superb. I want to eat something light today, Chiu. Li Fan turned his head and realized that Chiu Er had changed into a maid's uniform. However, she wasn't wearing anything on her lower body. The little lass was stirring the soup as she muttered to herself. Master, will you lift up my short skirt later? I'm so scared. After all, I'm not wearing anything on my lower body. Fuck you. Are you scared? Also, when did you change your clothes? You can turn a person into a living person in the time it takes to cook. Li Fan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. This Chiu Er really made him speechless. Change my clothes back. No, please enjoy me to your heart's content, Master. Chiu Er had already finished cooking. She was holding the soup and looking at Li Fan shyly. Master, please eat me while you eat. Change your clothes. Li Fan was angry, but Chiu Er was trembling with excitement. Okay, I'm so happy to be scolded by Master. Chiu Er, I don't think you're suitable to follow me. Let Chun Er take over. No, don't, Master. Chiu Er was finally afraid. Chun Er's cooking isn't as good as mine, but she's more obedient than you. Chiu Er will be obedient too. Then put on your pants first. Then eat with me obediently. Yes, Cho, put on her pants obediently and placed the soup on the table. After she placed the bowl and chopsticks for Li Fan, she stood at the side, feeling wronged. Why are you standing there? Li Fan pointed at the table. Sit down and eat with me. Chio, doesn't dare. Chio, shook her head. Why wouldn't I dare? Do you think I'll eat you? Chio, isn't afraid of being eaten by master. Chio, is afraid of being despised by master. Chio, aggrieved expression made Li Fan's heart ache. All right, be obedient. How can I despise you? Come sit down and eat with me. Chio, shook her head again. Li Fan glared at her. If you don't eat, I won't eat either. As he spoke, he even placed the bowl and chopsticks on the table. Chio, quickly admitted defeat. Master, don't be angry. You must be exhausted after running for a day. Chio, listen to me. Chio will eat with master. Li Fan was very satisfied. Little girl, do you think I can't deal with you? Just as Chio was about to take the bowl and chopsticks, someone knocked on the door. Dong dong dong. The knocking sounds were like someone demanding a debt, and the door seemed like it was about to be smashed through. Open the door. Open the door, open the door. Li Fan had a headache. Why was this voice so familiar? Chio, hide for a while. Don't get discovered. Li Fan could only ask Chio, to hide for now. Oh. Chio, looked around and pointed at the bathroom. Shall I hide in there? Alright, hurry up and go in. Li Fan could not care about anything else. He hurriedly asked Chio, to hide in the bathroom. Chio, closed the bathroom door. Li Fan stood up and walked to the door. He pretended not to know and asked loudly. Who is it? A debt collector. Open the door. It was Liang Ru's voice outside the door. Li Fan was very impatient. I say, why are you always running to the male dormitory in broad daylight? I'm not familiar with you. What will it look like if you enter my dormitory? If word gets out, my innocence will be ruined by you. Ruined your head. Liang Ru was so angry that she almost laughed. I say, are you still a man? I, a young lady, did not say anything and you are the first to complain. Let me ask you, are you going to open the door? No. Li Fan replied without hesitation. He could not be bothered with this girl. She could not even stop to eat. All right, you are not going to open the door? Liang Ru seemed to have made up her mind. Then, Li Fan heard the door make a loud sound. Then, the door frame shook and the dust on it fell. Fuck, don't kick the door. You are crazy. Li Fan did not know what to say. He wanted to cry but had no tears. Liang Ru then kicked the door a second time. Li Fan was really worried that the door would be kicked open by this tough lady. I give up. I give up, can't I? Stop kicking. I will open the door now. Li Fan admitted defeat. Liang Ru, who was outside the door, seemed to be a little more satisfied. That's more like it. Hurry up and open the door. Li Fan opened the door and looked at the smug Liang Ru. He said helplessly, You are really a little ancestor. I almost called the police just now. Call the police? What police? Liang Ru walked in confidently and looked around Li Fan's room. Call the police and say that I molested you? Would they believe that? It's good enough that they didn't arrest you. Why arrest me? I am the victim. Li Fan felt wronged. Look at your wretched look. You don't look like a victim at all. I'm wretched? Are you kidding me? How am I wretched? Li Fan wanted to cry but had no tears. This lass was full of nonsense. Liang Ru entered Li Fan's room. When she saw the meat soup on Li Fan's table, her eyes suddenly lit up. She could not help but sniff. You made it? Li Fan did not know how to explain. He could only answer casually, Otherwise, you made it? Are you a Shanghai man? You know how to cook? As Liang Ru spoke, she did not stand on ceremony. She picked up Li Fan's bowl and chopsticks, sat down, and scooped a bowl of soup for herself. Didn't you eat? Nonsense. Of course I didn't eat. Do you want me to order takeout for you? No need. Isn't it ready-made? This soup is so fresh. So delicious. Liang Ru could not help but praise. She turned around and saw Li Fan standing to the side. She could not help but ask, "What are you standing for? Sit down and eat with us." "Is this my home or yours?" "What do you mean by home? Isn't it just a temporary apartment?" "In any case, I'm the host." "Why do you seem to be the host? What are you talking about?" Liang Ru continued to drink the soup. "It's your honor that I can eat with you. There are so many people out there who want to eat with this lady, but this lady has refused them all. Let's not talk about the distant ones. Let's talk about that Luo Nan. He asks me every day if I want to eat abalone, lobster, bird's nest. The face of a nouveau riche really pisses me off. You speak as if you're diligent and thrifty. Leave some for me." Li Fan could not hold it in any longer. He stepped forward and snatched the spoon, scooping 2 bowls of soup for himself. "Why are you scooping 2 bowls?" Liang Ru was extremely dissatisfied. "Can't I eat a lot?" Li Fan rolled his eyes. He placed the 2 bowls of soup in front of him, protecting them. "Don't tell me you're hiding a mistress in your golden house." Liang Ru casually joked, making Li Fan unprecedentedly nervous. Is this Liang Ru the reincarnation of a clairvoyant? How can every word she says be so mysterious? Chapter 1506. Could it be that she's hiding in the bathroom? Liang Ru pointed at the bathroom. Li Fan felt the veins on his forehead throbbing. This woman had definitely read fortunes for people in the old days. "Look at your nervous appearance. If I hadn't seen you walk in with my own eyes, I would have thought that you were hiding a woman in your room." Liang Ru's appearance when eating was also very spirited. Li Fan couldn't help but take a few more glances. It was unknown who said that people would look a bit ugly when eating. But why was Liang Ru's table manners so beautiful? He couldn't find a single fault. Plus, her happy appearance seemed to add a bit of temptation to the delicacies. Liang Ru's words made Li Fan let out a sigh of relief. But she didn't seem to be here to eat. It seemed more like she was here to investigate him. "You're so mysterious. What are you doing here?" Liang Ru asked again. "I've never seen you at school before. Tell me the truth. Who sent you to get close to me? My dad? Or my mom? Or that brainless child Luo Nan?" After interacting with Liang Ru a few times, Li Fan could already tell that this girl was definitely very smart and very vigilant. But even so, her intelligence was limited. Otherwise, she wouldn't have been tricked by someone with a bicycle. But his identity absolutely couldn't be exposed. He absolutely couldn't. In a short moment, over 10,000 thoughts spun through Li Fan's mind. In the end, he made up his mind. He would cross the sea in deceit and play Tai Chi with Liang Ru to the end. "Miss, I don't even know who you are right now. Yet you're the one investigating me?" Li Fan seemed to be a bit emotional. He slammed the table in annoyance. "Let me ask you, how many times have we met? Have you not been the one looking for me? Are you kidding me? I'm not that free. Why would I look for you? Do you think you're in high demand?" Liang Ru denied flatly. She felt that Li Fan was overthinking things. "Let's settle the score. Did you ride your bicycle like a mad dog today by the lake? Did you nearly hit me? Then you pestered me to fix your bicycle. Are you kidding me? You scared me enough that I didn't ask you for compensation for my mental damage. Look, there's a barb on my finger. It must have been scratched by your bicycle. I want to go to the hospital for an appraisal. You hurt me. Bah. You even ran into a porcelain accident. It's not my fault that the brakes broke." "So it's my fault? Who did I offend?" Li Fan's eyes widened. "Let's talk about what happened in the elevator. I just came to report and went upstairs, but you rushed over and started questioning me. If you ask me, who should I ask? I'm also very desperate, okay? It wasn't easy for me to transfer to Imperial Capital University, so I'm full of expectations for this place. I hope to have a romantic encounter here. And the result? The result? I didn't expect to meet such a problematic student as soon as I arrived." Who's a problem student? Liang Ru was bombarded with questions by Li Fan and was a little at a loss for words. I'm just taking precautions, okay? You said that you're an exchange student. Where did you exchange from? Liang Ru didn't care how aggrieved Li Fan was and continued to ask. Shanghai Music University. Li Fan said proudly, I got in with high scores. Music University? You're studying music? Yes. Li Fan nodded. Why? What's so strange about that? Men can't study music? Don't you know that the music masters in history were all men? That's the result of the past preference for men over women. Liang Ru emphasized, if society were to be flipped, the ones who did great things throughout the ages would be women. I'm not going to argue with you about this. I'll only quarrel. Li Fan felt that some of Liang Ru's views were already deeply rooted. It was better not to tangle with her on these issues. Anyway, he was just acting. There was no need to be serious. Since you're from a music academy, what did you study? Liang Ru continued to investigate Li Fan. Why do you look like you're interrogating a criminal? Li Fan was a little unhappy. You came to my dormitory to question me? Do you think you're a police officer? Are you feeling guilty and don't dare to say it? Liang Ru continued to ask. Why would I feel guilty? I study piano. You? Piano? Liang Ru looked at Li Fan. She couldn't believe that he was a piano student. But Li Fan was puzzled. I don't look like it. Make it up. Keep making it up. Liang Ru really couldn't believe it. People who studied piano all had a certain aura. She felt that this boy in front of her didn't have such an aura. Anyway, you don't look like it. You're insulting me. Li Fan decided to take the initiative. There isn't a piano here. If there was, I would definitely play it for you. I'll let you know what a true master is. You don't have one, but I do. Liang Ru pointed to the side. It's in my room. Come over. Li Fan widened his eyes. What the heck? There's a piano in Liang Ru's room? And when Liang Ru entered the room, Li Fan switched on his communicator. Through the buttons on her clothes, she heard the conversation between Liang Ru and Li Fan. And Jing felt a little nervous. This Liang Ru was taking it too seriously. Furthermore, why did she have a piano in her room? Didn't she practice the violin? You don't dare? Who doesn't dare? Wait until I finish this mouthful of soup. Li Fan finished the soup in his bowl before following Liang Ru out of the apartment and into her room. Before leaving, Li Fan instructed Chiu to drink the soup with a voice transmission. The little lass had been busy the entire day. He couldn't let Liang Ru benefit and let his Chiu starve. Although I don't know how good you are at playing the piano, your cooking is indeed good. It was unknown if Liang Ru was praising Li Fan or mocking him. Li Fan didn't mind. He had been learning from Christina for the past few days, so it shouldn't be a problem. How good could Liang Ru be? No matter how good she was, could she be more professional than Christina? After entering Liang Ru's room, Li Fan felt a strong artistic aura. This young lady's house was filled with art. The walls were hung with Western paintings that he couldn't understand. And her favorite was naturally this musical instrument. In this room, Li Fan discovered no less than 6 musical instruments. It was almost the same as when he was choosing musical instruments at the National Security Bureau. And in the middle of the room, there was indeed a white grand piano. It looked expensive, and it probably took a lot of effort to carry it in. You also learn the piano? That's not right. Why are there so many musical instruments in your room? Li Fan began feigning ignorance again. Why do you care? Play the piano. Liang Ru urged. Li Fan pulled out a piano stool and sat in front of the piano. Liang Ru was smug as she crossed her arms and leaned against the wall, as though waiting for Li Fan to make a fool of himself. Chapter 1507. Li Fan opened the piano and placed his hands on the black and white keys. A whisper of autumn quickly flowed between Li Fan's fingers. Liang Ru was waiting for him to make a fool of himself, but after listening for a while, she was stunned. This piano piece was moving and the melody was pleasing to the ear. It was obviously at the level of someone who had been immersed in the piano for several years. Although it was not at the level of a master, it was not far from it. How is it? After Li Fan successfully finished playing, and Jing heard it from the communication device and heaved a sigh of relief. Li Fan sat up straight and turned to look at Liang Ru and asked, "Not good?" Unexpectedly, Liang Ru rolled her eyes and gave such an evaluation. "What?" Li Fan was very unwilling. "This zither skill of mine was personally taught by a famous pianist. Why can't it work? The song you played is not bad. The rhythm is smooth and it's methodical." Liang Ru first praised him, then began to bombard him. "But no feelings. No feelings at all. You're only imitating the feeling of the song itself, but you don't have any feelings of your own. Not good. Not good. You're like a metronome. You have the rhythm, but it's not good." Li Fan broke out in cold sweat. Liang Ru was too amazing, right? Her analysis was quite right, and she was not nitpicking. Even if he could imitate the piano, he could not imitate the piano's meaning. "However, you're still good at it. I guess your family forced you to learn the piano?" Liang Ru began to think that she was smart. "Hey, you saw through that? Who am I?" Liang Ru was very proud. "Liang Ru, second-year violin." "Oh, my name is Li Yun, second-year piano." The two of them first reported their names. "Your foundation is not bad, but it's a pity that you're too rigid." Liang Ru seemed to have lost interest in Li Fan. All right, I'm full and sleepy. Go back, don't disturb me." "Fuck, you're the one disturbing me." "How did I become the one disturbing you?" Li Fan was too lazy to argue with this girl. He still had a lot of things to do, so he couldn't wait to go back. Li Fan successfully returned to his room. After giving Jing a few instructions, he switched off the communicator and lay in bed. Qiu had already eaten lunch and cleaned up the bowls and chopsticks. She sat by the bed and helped Li Fan massage his legs and shoulders. Although this girl's massage skills were not as good as Chunner's, they were not inferior by much. Li Fan lay there, enjoying himself. "Master, eat some grapes." Qiu's small movement caused Li Fan to open his mouth subconsciously. He suddenly thought of something and immediately asked, "Wait, which grape?" Master is so annoying. Of course it's the ordinary Longan grapes." Qiu said shyly, "Master, if you want to eat my grapes, that's fine too. Go, I was afraid that you would do that." "Longan is fine, I'll eat Longan grapes." Li Fan quickly emphasized. "That's a pity. The other type of grape is actually quite delicious." "Stuff. Can't you speak properly?" Master is scolding Qiu again. "I'm so happy. So happy." Li Fan was convinced. Why did Qiu have such a problem? However, this problem probably couldn't be cured. "Master, tell me, what kind of ability does that Liang Ru have to torment my master like this?" Qiu doesn't feel good when she sees this. "This is a mission. If I don't do it, no one will." Li Fan was open-minded, and in this university, I'm doing pretty well. "Look, you're even massaging my legs and feeding me grapes. How beautiful." "I just feel sorry for Master. If Chun and the others knew, they would definitely blame me for not taking care of you. Isn't it just Liang Ru? What's so difficult about protecting her for 3 months? Then what would you do if it was you? If it was Qiu, let Qiu take action, tie her up, bring her to the Li family island, and lock her up for 3 months. Wouldn't everything be fine? Your method is feasible, but it's too forceful." Li Fan laughed. "Qiu, tell me, if I lock Liang Ru up, what do you think outsiders would think?" "Naturally, they would think that our 7 Heroes villa is domineering and that our young Master Li is unparalleled. That's a good idea, but have you considered that if I lock Liang Ru up, what would those people who are secretly preparing to make a move on her think? They would definitely think that our Huaxia is afraid of them. Do you understand?" Qiu seriously thought about it. "That's why we need to put Liang Ru on the table in an open and above-board manner. Whoever dares to touch Liang Ru, I'll slap their face first." "Master is right, Qiu is wrong." Qiu blinked her eyes. "Master, please whip Qiu. Qiu will go prepare a whip for you. Focus on massaging your legs." Li Fan was annoyed. How could any topic change to this? Just as Li Fan was about to help Chiao, or fix her problem, the melodious sound of a violin suddenly came from next door. To be precise, it didn't come from next door, but from the balcony. That Liang Ru should be playing the violin on the balcony. Li Fan heard it clearly and couldn't help but perk up his ears. Li Fan couldn't help but think of Qing Mohan when he heard the violin. Although he hadn't seen the Brocade Guard's soul burial song for a long time. This girl's music was very powerful, and Li Fan had a deep impression of her. If he had her ability, this small music battle wouldn't be difficult for him. That girl seemed to be playing a serenade. However, it sounded like she was admiring herself and was lonely. This woman is too confident. Li Fan heard the feelings in her music and couldn't help but laugh dryly. However, playing music on the balcony wasn't dangerous. However, he was here. No matter what threat there was, he could solve it for her. It was also very peaceful in broad daylight. Those Jianghu bandits probably wouldn't dare to do anything. Liang Ru's song was a form of self-appreciation and also a demonstration to Li Fan. He didn't care. He didn't specialize in music. There were still many other things to do. After resting for a while, Li Fan sat cross-legged on the bed and began to close his eyes to regulate his breathing, letting his inner strength silently circulate in his body. The Tai Chi symbol slowly rotated, causing Li Fan's inner strength to increase bit by bit. Li Fan felt this kind of strength and finally felt a little better. The threat of the Outlanders was imminent. He also had to continue to cultivate so that his strength could increase to the level where he could fight against the Outlanders as soon as possible. The last time he used the White Tiger to repel Jiang Feng, it gave Li Fan a reminder. Sometimes he couldn't be too extreme. This would cause him to have inner demons. There were some enemies that had to be dealt with in order to deal with. The White Tiger was a very good support. When dealing with the Outlanders, it should be of some use. Chapter 1508. Li Fan cupped his hands together, and white smoke drifted out of his head. This was a sign that his inner power was surging. Under Li Fan's control, a ferocious white tiger slowly surfaced from Li Fan's right shoulder. After this, it flew into the air and hovered in front of Li Fan. After this, it circled around him like a guard. Huff! Li Fan slowly exhaled a mouthful of turbid air. If he wanted to use this white tiger to assist him, he would need at least half of his inner power. Furthermore, he wouldn't be able to maintain it for long. It would be impressive if he could maintain it for an hour. Master, you haven't used our previous master's strength properly. Chiao understood this better. She moved closer to Li Fan and whispered in his ear, Master, if you use this strength as a bow and arrow, it would be a waste. Our previous master was so powerful. He could even make a set of armor, let alone a bow and arrow. Li Fan suddenly recalled that Chiao had been serving the White Tiger all this while. She definitely understood the White Tiger better than he did. After you wear this armor, your fighting strength will be doubled temporarily, Chiao said. Back then, the 4 holy beasts could all turn into armor. If the 4 holy beasts combine, it will be 10 times stronger. It's that strong? Li Fan was a little shocked when he heard this. 10 times stronger? If he were to use this armor at the last minute, he would be able to fight against the Grandmasters, right? Although he was also increasing his inner power, martial arts was a gradual process. He couldn't increase his inner power in a short period of time. Although it was an evil path to walk down the path of the holy armor, he had no choice but to do so. Sister White Tiger, you're living in my body now. I'll use your abilities too. We've come to a deal. Isn't that fair? As Li Fan spoke, he once again held his hands in a circle and sacrificed the White Tiger. This time, the White Tiger continued to circle around Li Fan. It was being nourished by Li Fan's strength. Li Fan's vital qi was like fuel that was continuously being transferred to the White Tiger's soul body. Master, use your imagination and imagine the White Tiger as a suit of armor. The White Tiger can turn into armor. As long as Master can think of it, it can be done. All right, I'll give it a try. Li Fan maintained his imagination and thought about what the White Tiger armor should look like. Li Fan had read many Japanese mangas and Chinese web novels in the past, so his imagination was quite good. He slowly conceived in his mind. Soon, the white tiger in front of him suddenly leaped up and flipped in the air. In the blink of an eye, it transformed into a set of white armor and quietly floated in front of Li Fan. The posture of this armor was very mighty, and it even had a trace of disdain for the world. The armor was like a white tiger lying on the ground. When he stood up, he was like a god of war. However, this armor was slightly different from what Li Fan had imagined. This should be the original form of the white tiger armor. What a cool armor. Come, bring me the armor. Li Fan was in high spirits as he instructed Chiu. Yes, master. Chiu knew that Li Fan was in high spirits, so she came over eagerly and brought the armor to Li Fan. Then, she helped him put on the armor one by one. Master, you look really handsome in this armor. Chiu couldn't help but praise Li Fan. He looked handsome and suave in this armor. He even had the majesty of an ancient general. My strength has indeed increased. Li Fan sensed the strength in his body. This could become his trump card. However, unless it was absolutely necessary, Li Fan wouldn't use it. Once he became dependent on external forces, it would be difficult for his strength to improve. Master, not bad, right? Chiu looked at Li Fan proudly. She seemed very happy to be able to use her old master's strength to help Li Fan. Yes, but you have to remind me to use this armor as little as possible. Li Fan instructed. But this is such a good armor and it can make master stronger. Why not use it? Chiu didn't understand. These are external objects after all. I can't rely on them for a long time. Otherwise, they are like drugs. The more I use them, the more I don't want to let them go. Li Fan raised his fist. Only when one's strength is strong will it be the hard truth, right? But the white tiger armor won't leave master. It is also a part of master's strength. Why not use it? Li Fan explained. Miss White Tiger is just temporarily residing in my body. When everything is settled, I will think of a way to revive Miss White Tiger. Master? You really want to revive old master? Chiu was a little hesitant. But you don't want to? No. We are indebted to old master for raising us. Of course, we hope that old master can come back to life. Chiu waved her hands in fright. Chiu just can't bear to part with you, master. Don't worry. When Miss White Tiger returns, I will ask her to bring the four of you over. You have followed me for a period of time. Why do you have feelings for me? Yes, thank you, master. Chiu finally seemed to be a little happy. Don't stand on ceremony. I can't bear to let you go. I have worked so hard to revive Miss White Tiger. I have to repay you, right? Chiu suddenly cried. Why are you crying? Li Fan was a little stunned. Everything is fine, Chiu. I am just a little touched. This is not good. Master, why don't you whip Chiu? Let Chiu go to heaven. I think you want to go to heaven. Li Fan rolled his eyes. This girl, just for a while, she's not being serious again. Just as Li Fan was about to teach this child a lesson, someone knocked on the door. Who is it again? Li Fan said, Holy shit, could it be that crazy lass next door is here again? Li Yun? Your package has arrived. A delivery man? Li Fan was a little puzzled. Had he ever bought anything? He became vigilant, but Jing sent him a message through her phone. The gift has been delivered. Please accept it. So it's from Jing and the rest? What could it be? Li Fan got Chiu to hide first before he opened the door to retrieve the package. It was a huge package. He opened it and realized that it was a Yamaha electronic keyboard. It just so happened that Li Fan still had an empty computer desk. He could use it to place the electronic keyboard. And Jing and the rest actually thought of this. How thoughtful. This electronic keyboard was an extended model, and the buttons were exquisite. It felt very similar to a piano, which was very rare. Placing it here was probably to make it easier for him to practice. Li Fan sat in front of the keyboard and suddenly began to think about something. The music was easy to play, but how should he find the musical feeling? Chapter 1509. Li Fan sat in front of the guqin, but he did not start for a long time. He was only imitating when he played the guqin, and he did not put his heart into it. This way, he might be able to deceive laymen, but in front of a professional like Liang Ru, he would definitely be embarrassed. If he wanted to carry out a mission, he had to prepare well. Not for anything else, but to not be outdone by this last Liang Ru. Although Li Fan was not a male chauvinist, he still felt a little uncomfortable losing to a young lady. Especially losing to such an arrogant young lady, it was too depressing. "Master, what are you thinking about?" She could not help but ask when she saw Li Fan sitting at the side in a daze. "Sigh, just some annoying things." Li Fan sighed. "Tell me, why is this melody so hard to find?" Chiu doesn't know much about music. Chiu said according to her understanding, Chiu only thinks that it's fine as long as you put your heart into it. I understand what you mean. Li Fan sighed. No matter what, he had to practice first. Li Fan took out a zither score and began to play according to the music on it. However, Li Fan was indeed a layman when it came to music. He did not have any foundation in this area. Li Fan practiced playing the piano according to his own understanding. However, after playing for a long time, he could only make some messy noises. Even he could not stand it. Liang Ru, who was next door, could not stand it. She stretched out her hand and knocked on the wall a few times to remind Li Fan. "This guy, didn't he play quite well just now? Why is he like a beginner? He must be doing it on purpose to make noise to anger me." This man was quite narrow-minded. He was not a good man at all. After knocking a few times, the noise on the other side gradually became softer. Li Fan had already lowered the sound of the electronic guqin. Although the sound was low, Li Fan's ears were amazing, and he could hear it clearly. He chose a wedding in a dream, but Li Fan had always been quite passive when it came to relationships. Now that he was focused on cultivation, he never thought about what marriage would be like. Marriage seemed very far away. Li Fan did not even dare to imagine his own marriage. After all, he had more than one woman. Mrong ing mrong ai. Lin Yixing, Imperial concubine Zhou, Lu Wen. My God, how did I get so many women all of a sudden? Was it because of love or love calamity? It was hard to tell. Li Fan struck a balance between work and rest, alternating between practicing and playing the zither. The day passed quickly, and Li Fan still had classes to attend the next day. As a music student, he did not have many classes. He only had 2 classes, English and Modern Chinese, but he had many art classes. Introduction to piano, music theory, and all kinds of practice classes. Li Fan practiced the whole morning. There were not many people in the music department of Imperial Capital University, and there were only 4 or 5 people in the piano department. Most of them were girls. As a new transfer student, Li Fan attracted the curiosity of many students. However, Li Fan did not come here to make friends with them, so he did not communicate much with them. The teacher of the practice class seemed to be a music master. Her surname was Duan, and she was also a woman in her 40s. She looked artistic, and her temperament and dress made her look like an artist. "Li Yun, I heard that you play the guqin well, but you can't be too arrogant here. You have to practice more, understand?" She did not forget to remind Li Fan, "Our old saying is very good, the fist should not leave the hand, the song should not leave the mouth. Once you relax, the level of your skill will also drop." "Teacher, I don't seem to have a sense of music. How should I cultivate this?" Li Fan asked. "Really? Why don't you play a piece for me?" Teacher Duan was a bit curious. She guided students in the piano room every day. She had seen all kinds of students and also trained some famous artists. Li Fan casually played a piece of his most memorable song. After listening, Teacher Duan gently frowned. "Your foundation is indeed good. At first glance, you have practiced for many years and worked hard. However, there is no emotion in the music." "Yes, teacher, I also know I have this problem. But how can I change it?" "To awaken your interest in life." Teacher Duan gave such a suggestion. Li Fan was a bit surprised. "Teacher, Do you mean I have lost interest in life? Li Fan did not know whether to laugh or cry. He was only in his early 20s. How could he lose interest in life at such a good age? Maybe it's because you haven't invested enough in music. Teacher Duan continued to evaluate, spend more effort to feel the beauty of music. How about this? Come and listen. As Teacher Duan said this, she personally sat in front of the piano and played a piece for Li Fan. It was the same tune, but when played by Teacher Duan, a beautiful woman in her 40s, it gave off a different feeling. After listening to the last part, Li Fan was speechless for a long time. Nice, it was really nice. He really didn't expect that the same piece, when integrated with his own feelings, could produce such a feeling. This seemed to be a kind of enlightenment. Li Fan suddenly realized something. There seemed to be a trace of thought floating in his mind. Just like a flash of lightning, it slipped away. It was said that the supreme unemotional was the great way. But Li Fan felt that if he had rich feelings, why couldn't he achieve a great way too? Without feelings, it would make his boxing style too rigid and pedantic. And if he could integrate his feelings into it, he might even be able to bring the move to life. With a living move, it would be different. Li Fan felt that he had grasped something very mysterious, which made him very happy. When he was happy, the piece he played immediately became cheerful. Teacher Duan was a little disappointed with this transfer student, but when she heard the cheerful feeling in the piece, she was immediately surprised. This student, the piece seemed to suddenly come alive. But this cheerful rhythm was fleeting, even making Teacher Duan suspect that she had misheard. Try harder. Teacher Duan patted Li Fan's shoulder. I believe you can practice it well. Thank you, teacher. Li Fan also caught the inspiration in a flash. How could he practice it in a short time? That was something that only a godlike genius could do. Li Fan practiced for a while more and felt that his technique was getting more solid. He still needed more effort in the emotional aspect, but at least he had found the direction. This place needs to be so bouncy. Teacher Duan didn't give up on Li Fan. Occasionally, she even gave him some guidance. At this moment, Li Fan suddenly felt a strong heartbeat. This heartbeat made him panic, as if danger was coming. Liang Ru was in trouble. Chapter 15:10. Liang Ru had no classes during the day. She basically had practice classes, but she didn't like to go. When she arrived at class, a group of people would pester her or peek at her playing the piano. It was too annoying. Liang Ru still liked to play the piano on the balcony of her apartment. It was very quiet and no one would disturb her. Speaking of which, the silly kid who lived next door might have a problem with his brain or was gay. He actually didn't have any feelings for her. While there was nothing to do, Liang Ru walked to the forest behind the school alone. She changed into a close-fitting sportswear and jogged while listening to her MP3. Liang Ru usually came to ride her bike when the weather was good. However, the bike was broken so she could only run. For Liang Ru, art and sports were very important. Only with a healthy body could she have the energy to pursue a higher realm of art. Liang Ru used to have a classmate who played the saxophone and pursued art wholeheartedly. In the end, because of a lack of inspiration, he became addicted to drugs. His family was not bad, so naturally, he didn't lack the money to buy drugs. However, it didn't take long for his body to finish first. When he finally died, he was only 19 years old. Fortunately, Liang Ru's family was very strict. Although her mother doted on her, her father was very strict. Fortunately, Liang Ru's body was good. She had practiced karate and aikido when she was young, so she was so confident in subduing the stalker in the elevator. Thinking of that stalker, Liang Ru was furious. That bastard, the next time I see him, I'll kick him a few times first. Why am I thinking of him again? It's really strange. Forget it, forget it. Don't think about him. What's the point of thinking about him? Really? Liang Ru ran on the boulevard for about half an hour, and her physical strength gradually decreased a lot. Liang Ru ran until she was drenched in sweat and finally stopped. This time, the run was very thorough. Although Liang Ru was a little tired, the feeling of burning fat made her secretly happy. Although Liang Ru's figure was already very good, women would never dislike being thin. Especially women like Liang Ru, who loved beauty. Who? Liang Ru suddenly looked back, but there was no one behind her, not even a student walking. Strange, why did it feel like there was someone just now? Liang Ru was a little puzzled. Was she thinking too much? It must be that brat. I'm a little frightened. Liang Ru got angry at the thought of it. She turned off the MP3 player and prepared to leave the mall. Suddenly he felt someone behind him and quickly turned around. When she turned around, Liang Ru saw a dwarf wrapped in black clothes standing in front of her. In his hand was a syringe gun, as if he was waiting to inject some kind of drug into her. Who is it? Liang Ru was shocked, and her heart raced. The shorty did not answer. He only grabbed Liang Ru's arm with one hand, as if he wanted to restrain her. Almost subconsciously, Liang Ru grabbed this lean and sturdy arm and prepared to throw this rude person out with a shoulder throw that she was proud of. However, even though the other party was so short, it was as if his feet were rooted to the ground. He just stood there, making it difficult for him to exert any strength. Strange. Liang Ru was even more shocked. Why was this shorty so strange? The syringe was about to pierce her neck. Liang Ru felt despair in her heart. There was no one here. Was she doomed? But at this moment, a person suddenly descended from the sky and kicked out with both feet, sending the shorty flying. The person landed in front of her. He was wearing an inconspicuous gray sportswear. His head was covered with a hood, so she could not see what he looked like. Who are you? Just as Liang Ru asked, the person waved his hand and blocked Liang Ru behind him. Baka. The shorty's attack did not hit, and he actually cursed in Japanese. Then, he turned around and wanted to slip away. As the saying goes, if you don't hit, run 1,000 miles away. This shorty was also carrying out this point. However, Liang Ru realized that the hooded man in front of her obviously did not want to let the other party escape. The man stepped forward and reached out to grab the shorty's back. In the end, the shorty raised his arms and took off his black clothes, preparing to leave. The hooded man laughed. Then, he grabbed the shorty's clothes and wrapped them around him. He actually used the clothes as a rope and locked the shorty up. The hooded man successfully caught the shorty. With a bounce of his feet, he immediately jumped up. Liang Ru stood there in a daze. She watched as the hooded man was like an ancient expert on television. He actually stepped on the leaves and jumped into the sky. As light as a cloud, he stepped on the leaves and left. My eyes are not playing tricks on me. Liang Ru desperately rubbed her eyes, unable to react for a long time. On the roof of an apartment building not far away, Li Fan took off his hood and threw the shorty to the ground. The shorty laid there with his eyes wide open, looking at him without saying a word. Why aren't you saying anything? Say something. Li Fan kicked him. Are you pretending to be a silent lamb? The shorty let out a few sounds, but no one knew what he was saying. Sorry, I forgot to seal your acupoint. Li Fan patted his head and said to him in embarrassment, Sorry, I will unseal it for you now. With that, he raised his leg and kicked the shorty's waist, opening his acupoint. Baka. The shorty spewed out a string of Japanese words. Thankfully, Li Fan had the communicator on. When he heard this, and Jing had already gotten someone to translate for him. He's scolding you. It's very unpleasant. And Jing said, Ignore him. This bastard definitely knows Chinese. Li Fan kicked the shorty's waist again and kicked the shorty's other acupoints, causing him to cry out in pain. And Jing had already seen the shorty's face and had found his information from the database. His name is Itagawa Lang. He's an internationally famous independent mercenary. And Jing informed Li Fan of the shorty's information. This person is infamous internationally. As long as he's paid, he'll take on any job. He has no bottom line. I see. Li Fan nodded and stuffed his hands in his pockets. He bent down and looked at the shorty lying on the ground. Itagawa Lang, tell me. Who hired you? There were too many people and organizations behind Liang Ru. It was too complicated. Li Fan had to dig deep and slowly investigate. Who were the people who wanted to sabotage the plan to attack Machete? He could ignore the foreign factions, but what worried Li Fan the most was that there might be factions within the country. China's leadership wasn't made of iron. What if someone was bribed? With all sorts of situations in front of him, Li Fan's work over the past 3 months would probably not be light. Don't kill me. I'll tell you. Chapter 1511. Come closer, I'll tell you. Itagawa Lang seemed to have accepted his fate and decided to confess everything. Li Fan leaned over. At this moment, Itagawa Lang's eyes suddenly flashed a fierce light. He spat out a silver needle in the air and went straight for Li Fan's temple. Itagawa Lang was triumphant. This move was his trump card. Once it was used, the other party would definitely die. He had killed a lot of strong people with his help. It was a tried and tested method. Pa! Unexpectedly, Li Fan reached out and directly pinched the silver needle between his fingers. Nanny! Itagawa Lang's eyes widened and did not react for a long time. Fuck, my trump card actually failed? This needle is actually smeared with poison? Li Fan observed the blue silver needle under the sun and could not help but mutter, "You're really ruthless. No wonder you dared to make a move in broad daylight. Tell me, who is the master behind the scenes? Tell me and I'll let you live." Li Fan, Liang Ru has already called the police. The police will be here soon. You have to hurry. And Jing reminded Li Fan. Okay, got it. Li Fan looked at Itagawa Lang, who still did not want to confess. He stretched out his finger and personally poked Itagawa Lang's body. Li Fan had a deep understanding of acupuncture points. With this poke, his internal force immediately drilled into Itagawa Lang's body. Like a worm, it instantly crawled through Itagawa Lang's 8 extraordinary meridians and flowed into his blood vessels. Itagawa Lang only had one feeling: pain. Severe pain. As a notorious mercenary, Itagawa Lang could also be considered a tough man with iron bones. In the past, even if he was shot, he could cut the bullet out with a knife without making a sound. He begged for mercy and screamed just now in order to trick Li Fan. But this time, under Li Fan's strange hands, he had no choice but to admit defeat. The pain made him wet his pants and cry again and again. Keep your voice down, or you'll attract the police. Li Fan had already seen the 2 police cars driving over from afar. His finger tapped on Itagawa Lang's body again. The pain immediately intensified. Itagawa Lang started to cry. He couldn't take it anymore. I'll talk. I told you everything. Look at you. Why did you have to do this? If you had said so earlier, you wouldn't have had to suffer. With a poke, Li Fan unsealed the acupuncture points on Itagawa Lang's body. This guy was already drenched in cold sweat, and he looked as if he had just been fished out of the water. I don't know what his name is. I only know that his code name is A. He's from America. America? Li Fan frowned. As expected, the United States had a hand in this? It was probably not that simple. Now that China's dragon god #1 was in the sky, it had already formed a huge protective barrier in the sky. The intercontinental missiles and satellite surveillance of the United States had all lost their effect on China. However, if they held onto this opportunity of Wanwan, several countries would secretly support Wanwan's independence. Who knows, they might be able to deplete China's domestic resources and cause unrest among the people. During this period, the entire international power was placed on a little girl, Liang Ru. Although it was a bit cruel, Liang Ru was born in such a family. This was her fate. This person will probably be able to find out more secrets. Li Fan felt that Itagawa Lang couldn't be executed. Yes, and he's an internationally wanted criminal. He must be detained. A quiet voice came from the headset. Got it. Where should I send him? There's a van at the back door, a Wuling light. Just throw him into the van. Understood. Li Fan used Qinggong and grabbed Itagawa Lang. He avoided people along the way and successfully sent him to the back door of the school. He threw him into a parked van. The driver was none other than Xiao Qin. I've handed him over. I'm going back. It's been hard. The two of them had a simple exchange before Li Fan returned to the school. As for what kind of interrogation Itagawa Lang would receive when he was sent to the National Security Bureau, that was something to be said later. Li Fan returned to the school and hid at the side, watching Liang Ru communicate with the two policemen. "I'm telling the truth. Why don't you believe me?" Liang Ru was very angry. "You are the people's police, right? You don't believe what the people say?" "This student, what you said is a bit too imaginative." A policewoman didn't know whether to laugh or cry as she looked at Liang Ru. "What kind of person can come and go? I think you're a student of art. Are you thinking too much?" "What are you saying?" Liang Ru was extremely unhappy. "I'm not trying to scare you. Besides, why aren't there people who can come and go? Isn't that Li Fan from the Seven Knights Villa such a person?" The two policemen didn't know Liang Ru's identity and were quite impatient with her. "That Li Fan is indeed a person who comes and goes. Could it be that the person who saved you just now was Li Fan?" The policewoman was a little sarcastic, but the other male policeman patted her arm. "Have a good attitude." With that, he took over his colleague's place and continued, "We'll register this matter first. If there are any new developments, remember to contact us again." The police withdrew, causing Liang Ru to stomp her feet in anger. "These police officers, they don't do anything. How annoying." Liang Ru cursed, but there was nothing she could do. She could only let them go. "You're so busy, but you still remember to call me?" After that, Liang Ru returned to the apartment, but she immediately received a call from her mother. Li Fan was sitting next door. With his internal energy, he could hear it clearly. "I'm in danger." "What danger do I have? Go to the United States?" "No, I'm fine here." "I said I won't go." "What's so good about the United States?" When Li Fan heard Liang Ru arguing on the other side, he felt a little emotional. Although Liang Ru's parents were well off, they divorced early. The two of them had different values, and in the end, their marriage failed. Liang Ru's mother left for the United States, leaving Liang Ru behind. Although she gave Liang Ru a lot of money every month, Liang Ru hadn't felt the taste of motherly love for a long time. In short, don't get involved in the country's affairs. My dad is a leader, but I'm not. With that, Liang Ru hung up the phone, and the room next door was quiet for a long time. Although Li Fan couldn't understand Liang Ru's inner thoughts, he could feel her sadness. Wasn't he the same? His parents just left him behind, and the old couple traveled around, living an extremely carefree life. Not long ago, Li Fan sent someone to send them a letter, asking them to settle down in Li Family Island. However, the old couple used traveling around the world as an excuse to reject Li Fan again. Compared to Li Fan, the two of them were like a celestial couple, traveling around the world. Li Fan didn't know when he would be able to put down his heavy burden, hold hands with a beauty, and travel around the great mountains and rivers of the motherland. Just as Li Fan was muttering, someone knocked on the door again. Chapter 15:12. The knocking on the door was extremely loud, like thunder. "Who is it?" Li Fan was puzzled. Why couldn't she give him some peace? "Open the door." Liang Ru's shout came from outside the door. Li Fan was going crazy. Could it be that this woman was pestering him? Wasn't she very arrogant? Why didn't she find someone else but him? "I'm not opening the door." Li Fan shouted at the top of his lungs, "I'm going to sleep naked." Wang Qiu giggled, and Li Fan hurriedly covered her mouth. "No!" Liang Ru immediately shouted through the door, "Are you hiding a woman in your room? Why do I hear a woman laughing?" "Fuck, is this woman a monster?" Li Fan gave Qiu a look. Qiu understood and leaped onto the balcony. Then, she jumped onto the balcony and went upstairs. This was also a method that Li Fan discovered. If someone was looking for them, it would be convenient for Qiu to hide on the rooftop. The back of this building was the back wall of another school building, so they were not afraid of being seen. "Open the door." "I'm not opening the door. Even if I have a woman in my room, it has nothing to do with you. The apartment clearly states that the opposite sex is not allowed to stay overnight. You broke the rules the moment you came. I have the right to report you. The little girl shouted even more cheerfully. I'll open the door, all right. I'm really scared of you. Li Fan had no choice but to obediently go forward and open the door for the girl. After opening the door, Liang Ru barged in and started searching the entire room. She did not even let go of the bathroom, the cabinet, or under the bed. Are you checking the room? Li Fan was pleased. Fortunately, he had already moved Chiu-er away. Otherwise, he would have been caught red-handed. You look like someone who has a mistress in his house. Huh? Li Fan did not know whether to laugh or cry. Do I look like someone who has a mistress in his house? What a joke. Although this was the truth, it was only a temporary measure. All right, follow me out. Liang Ru did not say anything and pulled Li Fan out of the door. Hey, if you have something to say, let's talk it out. Why do you have to resort to violence? Li Fan pretended to be weak and tried to pull Liang Ru's hand away, but failed. Tiske, you should train your body. Liang Ru dragged Li Fan out of the apartment. Fuck, you let me lock the door first. Liang Ru lifted her leg and kicked Li Fan's apartment door shut. Fuck, big sister, where are you taking me? Come drink with me. Do you think I look like an escort? I'm not going. Although Li Fan really wanted to go, he was a little reluctant. The mission was one thing, but what was wrong with Liang Ru? Was she really using him as an errand boy? Wasn't she very vigilant? Why didn't she seem to be on guard against him? If you didn't live next door, I wouldn't even bother to look for you. Liang Ru pouted and dragged Li Fan towards the elevator. Also, your small physique is too weak. You should train well. I heard that the Seven Knights Villa is not bad. You should go learn martial arts. Did your brain break? The Seven Knights Villa has long moved out of China and overseas. Oh, right, it seems like there was such a thing. So it's true. Liang Ru clearly did not understand the matters of the pugilistic world. When she heard Li Fan scolding her, she waved her hand impatiently. Only you men care about these things. Liang Ru did not mind. Then you should practice karate or something. I know a good dojo. You can go and learn. Are you here to promote yourself? Li Fan did not know whether to laugh or cry. This Liang Ru always did whatever she wanted, and he did not know what she wanted. In the blink of an eye, Li Fan was dragged into the elevator by Liang Ru. I say, ancestor, where are you taking me? Didn't I say? We're going for a drink. Liang Ru looked at Li Fan with a disdainful expression. Why are you so annoying? You're not like a man at all. You're dawdling. Li Fan did not know what to say. She was being forced, yet she said he was dawdling. It was better to stay away from this woman. She was too self-centered. Little Ru, where are you going? After going downstairs, he bumped into Luo Nan. This young master of the Luo family was dressed in a handsome and confident manner. He was holding a bouquet of roses in his hand. It seemed that he was waiting downstairs to see Liang Ru. Annoying, don't mind me. Liang Ru did not want to pay attention to this fellow. She pulled Li Fan and walked outside. Where are you going? Seeing Liang Ru pull Li Fan, Luo Nan burned with jealousy. He wanted to stab Li Fan. None of your business. Liang Ru dragged Li Fan away. Luo Nan threw the bouquet on the ground angrily. Bro, that kid is too much. He just arrived and he's already taken away our school beauty? The sidekick next to him had a face full of envy and jealousy. Taken away my ass. Luo Nan gave him a kick. They're friends. Do you understand? As if. Bro is right. They're friends. Our school beauty has high standards. How could she take a fancy to a new transfer student? It's good that you know. Luo Nan was satisfied. This stinking brat. If I don't beat him up, I won't be able to dispel the hatred in my heart. Hey, didn't bro say that they're just friends? You want to beat him up? Slap. Luo Nan gave him a slap. I said you're stupid. I'm praising you. This is called nipping the problem in the bud. Do you understand? Yes, bro, you're too wise. The sidekick covered his face and apologized hurriedly. Of course. You should learn from me. Luo Nan gestured to him. Make a call and have little Chow and the others prepare to make a move. Got it, bro. I'll do it right away. The sidekick took out his cell phone and made a call. It seemed that he was going to call someone. And at this very moment, Li Fan was dragged by Liang Ru to the ground. She was forcefully pulled to the bottom of a dormitory. Isn't this the men's dormitory? You brought me here to drink? Li Fan tidied up his clothes. He was puzzled no matter how he thought about it. Idiot. Who wants to drink here? This isn't a bar. Wait here. Don't run. If you run, I'll catch you back. I'll break your legs while I'm at it. Li Fan was unable to guess Liang Ru's thoughts. Why else would it be said that men shouldn't guess the thoughts of women? Soon, a boy ran down. He wore a leather jacket on such a hot day. He was dressed like a punk and gave Liang Ru a key. Got it? Let's go. Liang Ru led Li Fan to the school's car shed. She took out a Harley-Davidson motorcycle. Fuck. Are you kidding me? Li Fan was speechless. This girl could do something. She even made a motorcycle? You're too good at messing around. Don't you think it's cool? Liang Ru rode on the Harley-Davidson motorcycle and looked at Li Fan proudly. Alright, you got the bike. I'm leaving. Where are you going? Get on. I'm not going. Li Fan waved his hands. He really did not want to go. Liang Ru had the white tiger avatar on her anyway. He could sense anything that happened to her and quickly arrive. Besides, Jing and the others had arranged for some hidden sentries to keep an eye on Liang Ru. If something really happened to her, those hidden sentries could more or less stall for time. Although Li Fan had promised to protect Liang Ru, he did not want to be her lackey. Chapter 1513. Liang Ru was like the wind in everything she did. Nobody could control her. If she got used to it, wouldn't he be in trouble too? Wouldn't he be annoyed to death if he stayed next to her? Don't you dare. Why wouldn't I dare? Beat me up if you dare. Li Fan started to act shamelessly. Nobody could do anything to him. You have to come with me. Liang Ru was being unreasonable. You followed me in the day and made me worried. Aren't you going to compensate me now? If you say that, then there's nothing we can talk about. Goodbye. Li Fan couldn't be bothered with Liang Ru. She was too spoiled. Are you coming or not? Liang Ru was already unhappy. Now that Li Fan was at odds with her, she was even more unhappy. What is this man made of? Why does he always like to go against me? If I don't make him yield, I won't be happy. Li Fan wanted to teach this woman a lesson. How could he let her hold him? Forget it. Liang Ru was also anxious. She stepped on the clutch and twisted the accelerator. The motorcycle roared and leaped up. Then, it rushed out of the small door. This woman is a lunatic. Li Fan was speechless. When a woman became unreasonable, she was like a stubborn donkey. Nobody could stop her. In the past, there was Muronging. She only cared about her family business. Nobody could persuade her. After that, there was Yushi. Even if he killed the martial emperor, she was nowhere to be found. After that, there was Liang Ru. She was like a lunatic. She was moody and sunny. Was she trying to be a domineering female CEO? Master, is it good to leave her like this? Chiu asked as she stood beside Li Fan. Follow her in secret. Don't let anything happen to her. Li Fan instructed Chiu. Although he hated Liang Ru, her safety was his top priority. He was a little impulsive earlier. Fortunately, Chiu could be used. Yes, master. Chiu will go now. As she spoke, Chiu disappeared beside Li Fan like a ghost. Li Fan had planned on returning to sleep when his communicator rang. It was Jing calling him. Li Fan, the target signal is moving outside the school gate. What's going on? The little girl was unhappy, so she ran out to drink. Then why don't you follow us? Li Fan was speechless. He couldn't possibly say that he had sent people to keep an eye on him, right? I also just found out. I was about to go look for her. Hurry up and go. Nothing must happen to her. That Itagawa Lang said that there are at least 3 forces eyeing Liang Ru. Okay, I got it. I'll catch up right away. Li Fan was also quite helpless. Who asked him to accept this task? Chiu Think of a way to stop Liang Ru. I'll be right there. Li Fan used a voice transmission to shout in Chiu Er's direction. His voice could travel at least 1,000 meters, so he should be able to catch up to Chiu Er. Following that, Li Fan walked towards the school gate. After walking 200 to 300 meters, he saw a familiar figure squatting at the school gate as though she was inspecting the motorcycle beside her. Master, I punctured her tires when she stopped to open the door. Chiu Er came to Li Fan's side and reported to him. I reckon she can't ride the bike anymore. Lass, you're weird. Well done. Li Fan praised her. After this, he asked Chiu Er to hide herself as he walked in front of Liang Ru. At that moment, Liang Ru stood up and kicked the motorcycle. There were tears on the lass's face. Li Fan's heart immediately softened when the beauty cried. Yo, how did this motorcycle provoke our Miss Liang? Do you want me to beat it up for you? When Liang Ru saw Li Fan, she immediately wiped her tears and shouted at him. Scram! Who needs your help? Who said I need your help? I'm just here to watch the show. Li Fan smiled happily. Come. Tell me your sad story so that I can be happy. Li Yun, you're such a jerk. Liang Ru seemed to be choking with anger. She looked at Li Fan. She was so angry that she forgot to cry. You're just like this motorcycle, bullying me. Isn't it inappropriate for you to say that? Li Fan pretended to be wronged. I was the one who was bullied by you. How did it become me bullying you? Nonsense. I've always treated people sincerely. How did I bully you? Treat people sincerely? Li Fan almost laughed out loud. Did I say something wrong? Liang Ru was quite ignorant. It seemed like this lass did not interact much with people. Her way of dealing with people was already distorted. You're wrong. Li Fan pointed it out without hesitation. Liang Ru, you've been flattered by the people around you for too long. Without anyone to remind you, you've lost yourself. What did you come here for? Are you here to reprimand me? Liang Ru looked at Li Fan angrily. This man was too ungentlemanly. I can't be bothered to reprimand you. What does it have to do with me? We're not even friends. Why? Don't you like me? Liang Ru pointed at her beautiful face and looked at Li Fan with a puzzled look. Don't you men like beautiful women? Yes, you're pretty, but so what? Li Fan crossed his arms and looked at Liang Ru. You're pretty, so I should like you? You're pretty, so I should be at your beck and call? What kind of logic is that? Can one's appearance determine a person's character? Could it be that I can do whatever I want just because I'm handsome and not care about other people's feelings? Speechless, Li Fan saw that Liang Ru seemed to have given in and his tone softened. Only when a person's heart is kind will people sincerely treat him well and make friends with him. Liang Ru, look at those people around you. Do they really want to treat you well? Other than wanting to sleep with you, they just want to take advantage of you. For your words are so crude. Liang Ru spat. How did you go to school? Why are your words so harsh? My words are crude, but my logic is not. You know better than anyone if what I said makes sense. Li Fan's tone softened a little. How about this? Seeing that you're really sad today, I'll bring you out for a walk. It's fine if we drink, but you're a young lady. Why are you always drinking? Who said that women can't drink? Liang Ru clicked her tongue. Moreover, the bike is broken. How are we going to get out? Stupid, don't we have a shared bike? Li Fan pushed out a bicycle. It was unknown who had modified this bicycle, but there was also a back seat at the back. If you trust me, I'll bring you out to play? You? Don't tell me you want to sell me? You're not worth anything. Do you want to quarrel again? Liang Ru was infuriated. This man was really ungentlemanly. Then are you going or not? Yes. Chapter 15-14. Li Fan pedaled the bicycle while Liang Ru sat obediently at the back, grabbing the corner of Li Fan's clothes with both hands. Where are you going? Liang Ru was very curious. She grew up in the imperial capital and had been to many places. Not to mention, She was most familiar with bars and racing places. Those were places she often went to in the past. Every time she was in a bad mood, she would go to these places to vent. The effect was quite good. I'll take you to Babaoshan. You're going to die. Liang Ru pinched Li Fan's arm angrily, but Li Fan's muscles were strong, so she couldn't pinch him. This guy looked quite thin, but he had some muscles. Could it be that he usually trained? Actually, it's just a small place. I discovered it a few days ago. It's a good place. Tiske, what fun place have I not been to? Liang Ru didn't believe Li Fan's words. She wanted to see where Li Fan could go. Li Fan rode for a while and came to a barren mountain in the distance. Because the imperial capital university was located in the suburbs, barren mountains like this were rare. Li Fan brought Liang Ru to the top of the mountain. From here, he could see the city in the distance. The most clear thing was the imperial capital university in the night. It was a different scenery. How is the scenery here? Li Fan looked down and felt that looking into the distance was pleasing to the eye, and his mood was much better. Drinking, racing? To Li Fan, these were just distractions. A moment of material desire couldn't satisfy his ambition. Becoming stronger was what Li Fan wanted to do the most now. It's not bad. So it's this kind of place. You know how to be romantic. Liang Ru seemed to be quite satisfied. She stood in front of the cliff and looked at the beautiful scenery below. The night wind messed up her beautiful hair. Liang Ru reached out and gently pushed her hair aside. At this moment, her back seemed to be quite beautiful. Li Fan couldn't help but take a few more glances. This scenery would be even better if it was accompanied by music. Liang Ru could not help but sigh. If I had known, I would have brought the violin. I don't have a violin, but I have something else. Li Fan took out a short flute from his sleeve and held it in his hand. What is this? Short flute? Liang Ru was a little surprised. You know how to play the flute? Woman, why are you swearing? Ah, you're the one who's cursing. No, you have a coarse heart. Liang Ru suddenly understood the meaning behind Li Fan's words, and she couldn't help but blush as she spat. You were the one who said it first. How is it my fault now? Li Fan looked at Liang Ru seriously. It's your fault. Liang Ru felt that she had to be unreasonable for once. No, this time it was clearly Li Fan's fault. Why was it that he was being unreasonable? But, do you want to listen to me play a song? Come on, your piano playing is not bad, but it's not real. I don't believe that your oral skills can be any better. Since she had been misunderstood, Liang Ru might as well break the pot and deliberately said it. That's not necessarily true. Whether my oral skills are good or not, won't you know after you try? I'll hit you. I'll play. Li Fan felt that Liang Ru was very cute. He picked up the short flute, put it to his mouth and really started to play. This flute was learned from Jiang Yi, but Li Fan had paid attention and learned a few songs. He chose a song called Long Night Song. This Long Night Song was rumored to be created by a talented but unrecognized scholar. He tried for a long time but failed, so he created this song during a night trip. When the song of the long night was played, the lofty sentiments and lofty aspirations that could not be expressed made Liang Ru intoxicated. Unknowingly, tears trickled down her face. You bastard! Why did you play such a sad song? Liang Ru wiped her tears and then looked at Li Fan. She had obviously cried, but her eyes were filled with spirit. I didn't expect that your technique is bad, but your oral skills are not bad. Hey, you're still in high spirits? Li Fan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. This girl, she was taking advantage of him. I said before that you don't have a sense of music, it was my fault. Liang Ru pinched her fingers. You actually have a little bit of a sense of music, a little bit. Hey, isn't it a bit unfair for you to say that? It's very fair for you. Liang Ru seemed to be very happy. Next time teach me how to play the flute. Pei, teach me how to play the music? You play the violin quite well, why learn this for? You play the flute quite well, why do you want to learn the piano? Consider it as a hobby. Li Fan declined to comment. You can learn if you want, but you have to call me teacher. Pei, you're taking advantage of me. Look at you, How do you look like a teacher? Is there anyone who looks more like a teacher than me? Look at me, I have a naturally serious look. I've already thought about it. When I graduate, I'll become a music teacher and teach people. At that time, I'll have students all over the world. How great would that be? Great, my ass. Don't mislead others. Liang Ru snatched the flute from Li Fan's hand. Isn't it just blowing this thing? Who needs you to teach me? I'm a musical genius. Saying that, she placed it in her mouth and started blowing. But Liang Ru didn't know the technique of playing the flute, so it was a mess. When she put down the flute, she saw that Li Fan was in a daze. She suddenly understood and her face turned red. You scoundrel, are you letting your imagination run wild? No such thing. I'm a gentleman, why would I let my imagination run wild? You still dare to say no? Look at your lecherous eyes. Staring at me. How am I lecherous? You don't even have breasts, what's there to look at? Who said I don't have breasts? Aren't these breasts? Liang Ru pressed her hand on her breasts. Although they weren't big, they were starting to take shape. You're still not convinced? Look at those two, their breasts are bigger than yours. Li Fan pointed downwards. Liang Ru looked down unwillingly and saw a farm with 2 old cows. Pooey! You're actually comparing me to cows. Liang Ru angrily hammered Li Fan, causing Li Fan to burst into laughter. After hammering a few times, Liang Ru blushed a little. She felt that she was too close to this man. She suddenly turned serious and looked at Li Fan. I understand now. What do you understand? You want to flirt with me? Li Fan almost vomited blood. How did this lass think of this? Flirt with you for what? Are you an instant noodle? Since you're a man, don't you have any feelings for me? Your personality is too bad, not suitable to be a girlfriend. Li Fan didn't mince words, but Liang Ru raised her eyebrows. What if I take a nap? Li Fan felt that he had suffered an internal injury, and his expression was strange. Liang Ru suddenly took out her phone, as though she was prepared. She took a photo of Li Fan and then laughed. Look at your expression, ha, you can make an emoji pack. Chapter 15:15. Liang Ru's wild and girlish demeanor left Li Fan at a loss whether to laugh or cry. Don't forget that Director Ho reminded you. And Jing had been listening to their conversation the entire time. She reminded Li Fan through the earpiece, you mustn't develop feelings for Liang Ru. Li Fan didn't say a word. He naturally knew this. Even if he had a good relationship with Liang Ru, he couldn't develop feelings for her, lest he couldn't extricate himself. All right, you've been exposed to the night wind for most of the day. If you stay here any longer, you'll catch a cold. Li Fan interrupted the ambiguous relationship between the two. I'll send you back. No, I want to stay a little longer. Although Liang Ru was in a better mood, she didn't really want to return to school. She stood in front of the cliff again and looked into the distance. Tell me, can't a man and a woman always be in love? Perhaps they can, or perhaps they can't. Li Fan didn't know how to answer this question. Is this question that difficult? Liang Ru was puzzled. I'm only 20 years old, and your question is something that will take a lifetime to answer. Li Fan's words made Liang Ru smile bitterly. What you said does make sense. Forget it, I'll let you off on this question. Beauty Liang, you're wise. You're being so literary with me again. Liang Ru sighed. Sometimes, I feel that it'd be good if I were born in an ordinary family. Ordinary family? Are you born in an imperial family? Li Fan feigned ignorance. I'm not from an imperial family. But my father is a civil servant, and my mother is a businesswoman. Liang Ru began to talk about her family matters, but she was a little vague. The two of them are developing well in their respective positions. Everything has been smooth sailing for them. But in terms of relationships, they've failed miserably. In my memories, they have been quarreling every day and night. Even if it's just a trivial matter, the two of them can argue endlessly. As far as I can remember, the two of them have never reconciled. My ears are always filled with the sound of them arguing. Li Fan stood at the side, not daring to make a sound. He did not know what to say, nor did he know how to persuade her. These people who had their parents divorced when they were young were all very unfortunate. Their hearts were more or less incomplete and twisted. Liang Ru's personality was like this. Perhaps it was because of her family. Everyone thinks that I'm very blessed. I have a high-ranking official father and a wealthy mother. But sometimes, when I was alone on the balcony, I would suddenly have an idea. It would be great if I was born in an ordinary family. As long as I am like those ordinary people, with loving parents and a happy family, I will be happy. Actually, even if it's an ordinary family, there are many marriages that change. Li Fan could only say, "That's right. That's why I say that when adults change their marriages, the ones who suffer are us powerless children." Liang Ru smiled bitterly. "So every time I'm sad, I hide on the balcony and play the violin. As long as I played the violin, I would be completely immersed in the music. Music can make me forget my troubles. So, music is your drug." Li Fan understood that Liang Ru's musical talent was so high because it was her psychological sustenance. Thankfully, she had music as her sustenance, preventing her heart from being too twisted. It was still not too late to correct her now. "How about this? I'll teach you how to play the flute, and you have to teach me how to play the violin." Li Fan suddenly changed the topic. "This way, I'll practice my techniques, and you'll practice your oral skills. Wouldn't the two of us be happy?" "Pooey!" Liang Ru and Jing, who was listening by the side, began to spit. "Shameless!" Liang Ru cursed. "You're already panting after just a few sentences. Am I being too nice to you?" Yes. Miss Liang is right. It's true that I spoke improperly." Li Fan gave in. "Then, honorable young miss, would you be willing to exchange skills with me? Who wants to teach you?" "You're so stupid." Liang Ru turned her head and didn't look at Li Fan, making Li Fan laugh. "What are you laughing at? Damn it." Liang Ru finally turned her head and glared at Li Fan. "I'm laughing at you for saying one thing and saying another. How am I saying one thing and saying another?" Liang Ru's eyes widened as though she wanted to eat Li Fan up. All right. You didn't say one thing and mean another. Since that's the case, I can only see if my classmates are willing to learn how to play the flute. I'll see if I can exchange with them." "No way!" Liang Ru immediately shouted. "But how can their standards compare to mine?" Liang Ru explained. "If you learn from them, you'll be insulting me. If you're unwilling to learn from me, I'll teach you." Liang Ru insisted on being stubborn, but Li Fan wanted to snicker. This lass was really cute when she wasn't being honest. "Then I'll reluctantly learn from you." "Reluctantly? It's my honor." Liang Ru was satisfied when Li Fan changed his tune. "That's more like it. Then, my dear teacher Liang, can we go back now?" "Are you a pig?" Liang Ru pointed at the time. "It's already closed. We definitely can't return to the apartment." "Holy shit, don't tell me you want to spend the night with me outside." "Pooey, dream on. Then what do you want to do?" "Follow me. It's time for me to bring you somewhere fun." "Oh, okay." Li Fan understood. "You want to ride me? Do you think I'm Hercules? Take a taxi." "Then what about the shared bike? I've swiped my card. There's no place to park it nearby. It's your card. What has it got to do with me?" Liang Ru seemed to have finally found a way to take advantage of Li Fan. She happily went down the mountain. "This woman. It's best not to provoke her in the future." Li Fan sighed as he went down the mountain. "Did you just realize that?" And Jing also exhorted Li Fan. "Remember, don't provoke her. If you really do, the price? You know it." Yes. I know. My leader and Jing, can you stop nagging? My ears are getting calluses. I'm helping you. You can't be muddle-headed before important matters. You're not strong enough to lecture me like that. I'm ignoring you. Wait, and Jing, Commander, and can you do me a favor? Beg me. My commander, and can you do me a favor? That's more like it. Say it. And Jing seemed to take pleasure in bullying Li Fan. This puzzled Li Fan. Madan, why do these girls like to bully me so much? Well, help me stop the shared bike fees. It's all money. My heart aches. Li Fan followed Liang Ru all the way and took a taxi to the famous Lower Sea in the imperial capital. The reason why this place was famous was because Lower Sea was not a sea, but a lake. There were bars by the lake. Every night, it would become lively. Chapter 15-16. In the middle of summer, the sea was very cool at night. There were bars everywhere by the lake, and every bar was full of people. Actually, the price-to-performance ratio of the bars in the sea is not high. Liang Ru was obviously a regular customer. As she led Li Fan into the bar street, she introduced the place to him. The wine here is very expensive, but I still like it here. After all, the environment is good. I feel that it's a mess here. Li Fan looked at the customers coming and going around and couldn't help but mutter, it feels like a human in the day and a ghost at night. What's so fun about it? TSK, that's because you don't understand the bar culture here. Liang Ru looked at Li Fan with disdain. After you understand, you will know why we like to come here. If you like to drink, I can bring some wine to your room. Li Fan winked at Liang Ru. Go to hell, who wants you to come? Liang Ru said proudly, you are not allowed to come to this lady's room in the future. Otherwise, I will kill without mercy. Heh, kill without mercy, our Miss Liang is full of killing intent. That's right, so don't provoke this lady. Liang Ru seemed to be in a better mood because of the bar street. All right then, I promise I won't go to your room in the future. Humph. Liang Ru snorted in dissatisfaction. Li Fan couldn't understand her thoughts. This girl, what was she thinking? Follow me. Liang Ru didn't say anything and led the way into a bar. The bar's hall was almost hollowed out. Sitting inside, one could feel the coolness of the lake. Many guests were sitting there. There were men and women, drinking and singing. They were having a great time. The resident was an unknown woman who played the guitar and sang a love song. What would the two of you like to drink? A bartender came over and asked. Give me a bottle of Corona. Liang Ru casually ordered a set and a salute. Damn, so much wine I can't drink it right? Li Fan looked at the table full of wine and was a little surprised. This is nothing. Do you dare to play a game with me? Liang Ru raised her eyebrows and asked. Play games? Why wouldn't I dare? How could Li Fan be afraid of this? He directly accepted the challenge. Okay, let's play a game that I didn't make, but you did? Ah? What kind of game is that? Li Fan didn't understand at first, but he suddenly understood. He remembered playing this game with Jiang Yi and the others during the New Year. But this game has become popular recently. Is Liang Ru going to play with me? It's just the two of us. Won't it be too boring? Afraid to play? Why wouldn't I dare? Li Fan said, why does this woman like to goad me? All right, I'll go first. Liang Ru raised her glass. I never go to the men's room. Looking at Liang Ru's crafty smile, Li Fan helplessly drank a mouthful of wine. Hey, this kind of question is too boring. After Li Fan finished drinking, he protested. If I say that I never go to the women's room, won't you have to drink too? This kind of boring question is too boring. There are so many things to talk about. Let's talk about something new. Liang Ru pointed at Li Fan. It's your turn. You do it. All right, I'll raise my glass. Li Fan raised his glass and looked at the lively crowd around him. Listening to the singing, he suddenly had an idea. I never play the violin. Fuck. This question of yours is really cunning. Liang Ru raised her glass and drank it in one gulp. You're so annoying. I'm not playing anymore. You also know that this is boring, right? It's boring. I don't know what secrets you have. All right. Liang Ru suddenly thought of something. I don't have a girlfriend. Li Fan was stunned. How should he answer this question? Answer honestly? He had a feeling that this was a trap. But if he didn't answer honestly, it was a bit against Li Fan's rules. However, this was a critical period. He still had to lie. Li Fan didn't drink. You're hesitating. Liang Ru's seventh sense was like poison. She instantly stared at Li Fan's eyes and said, "Are you kidding me? Why am I hesitating? Why would I hesitate if I don't raise my glass? Humph, don't lie. If you lie in this game, you're a dog." "Alright, if I lie, I'm a dog." Li Fan barked twice in his heart. "My turn. I've never been in a relationship." If Li Fan did it once, he would do it a second time. He had already started to lie with his eyes wide open. Liang Ru was stunned. She raised her glass and drank it in one gulp. "Damn?" This surprised Li Fan. "You've been in a relationship before?" "Why can't I be in a relationship?" Liang Ru countered. "In short, it's really incredible that you can be in a relationship." "Humph." Liang Ru rolled her eyes at Li Fan and continued, "It's not like I'm not liked by anyone. I'm very curious. What kind of fierce warrior is he?" Li Fan laughed, causing Liang Ru to roll her eyes. "He's much better than you. He's more handsome than you, more reliable than you, and more talented than you." "Then why did you guys break up?" "I don't want to talk about it." "Drink." Liang Ru stuffed a bottle of Corona into Li Fan's hand. "I'll punish you with a bottle too." "Drink." As she spoke, she clinked her bottle with Li Fan's, and the two of them drank it in one gulp. Li Fan looked at Liang Ru, who seemed to have forgotten about the game and continued to drink bottle after bottle. His heart actually felt a little sorry for her. This girl seemed to be hiding a lot of things in her heart. Unfortunately, he could only think of ways to protect her safety, but he couldn't cure her heart. "These drinks are boring." Liang Ru suddenly clapped her hands. "Come, bring 8 bottles of Four Loko." The waiters immediately brought over 8 bottles of colorful drinks and placed them in front of them. "What the hell is this?" Li Fan had never seen it before. "Li Yun, let's play a more exciting game." Liang Ru's smile was somewhat ghostly, causing Li Fan to feel a little frightened. "What kind of trick are you playing now? Do you see this wine? This is called Lost Virginity wine." "There's such a name?" This wine is a kind of beverage wine from abroad. It's very high in alcohol, but it's covered with fruit flavor and caffeine, so when you first drink it, you won't feel anything. If you drink 2 in a row, you'll basically be drunk and won't wake up, no different from a dead person. If a woman drinks it, it will give the man an opportunity, so it's called Lost Virginity wine." "Then why did you make me drink this? What do you want to do to me?" Li Fan hugged his arm in horror. "What nonsense are you thinking?" Liang Ru scolded Li Fan for being thick-skinned. "But you have the chance today. If I get drunk, it's up to you. Even if I lose my virginity, I won't regret it. But if you get drunk, from now on, you'll have to be my follower. How about it?" Chapter 15-17. You can even make a bet when you're drinking. Li Fan was very speechless. What was this woman thinking? "I don't care. I want to get drunk today. Come on, get me drunk. Let's see if you have the ability." Liang Ru provoked Li Fan, but she did not know that Li Fan could use his internal force to activate his meridians and force the alcohol out of his body. If Liang Ru were to compete with him in drinking, she would definitely lose. However, Li Fan was still a little unconvinced. How high could this girl's alcohol tolerance be? Could she be better than him? Li Fan wanted to test if his alcohol tolerance was better than this girl's. He picked up a bottle of lost wine. After opening it, he smelled a strong smell of alcohol and fruit juice. "This is the lost wine? Is it really that powerful?" "You'll know once you try it." As Liang Ru spoke, she had already picked up a bottle and gulped it down like she was drinking water. Many men at the side looked over with malicious intent, seemingly wanting to see this beauty drunk. However, after Liang Ru finished a bottle of lost wine, it was as if she was drinking a bottle of water. "Pooey, this wine tastes really bad." Liang Ru threw down such a sentence. "Does it taste bad? Let me try it." Li Fan also opened a bottle of lost wine and then imitated Liang Ru and gulped it down in one gulp. This wine was just like what Liang Ru said, it really didn't taste good. It was like the drinks that were blended with spices in the past. It was too deceptive. For someone to actually drink this thing, Li Fan had a feeling that it was a hype. After drinking this bottle, other than feeling a little uncomfortable in his stomach, he also felt that there were other abnormalities. Yo, your alcohol tolerance is not bad. Liang Ru clapped her hands, seemingly praising Li Fan. Come, we still have a second bottle. As she spoke, Liang Ru placed a wine glass on the table and then took out a coin. Whoever throws the coin into the glass first can drink first. You are a veteran at playing games, a veteran at the bar. Li Fan couldn't help but throw out such an evaluation. That's true, I'm still a warm-up princess. Liang Ru seemed quite proud. Alright, whatever it is, you go first. Li Fan modestly declined. Liang Ru extended her finger and the coin drew a beautiful trajectory in the air before falling into the wine glass. You seem to be playing with me. Li Fan felt like he had fallen into Liang Ru's trap. Hee, I don't care. You should drink first this time. Liang Ru looked at Li Fan threateningly. Do you dare to drink it? If I'm scared, your surname isn't Li. Li Fan didn't believe it. Wasn't it just a jar of wine? He didn't believe that he would lose his virginity after drinking it. After finishing the can, Li Fan felt even more uncomfortable in his stomach. This lousy wine was really hard to swallow. Not bad, I underestimated your alcohol tolerance. Your turn. Li Fan crushed the wine jar and winked at Liang Ru. How dare you be so arrogant? Liang Ru picked up her second jar and drank to her heart's content. This Liang Ru was a great drinker in the past. Drinking wine was like drinking water. In a short while, she finished her jar. Liang Ru turned the jar upside down. There was not a drop of wine left. Next time, I'll go first. As Li Fan spoke, he grabbed the coin and threw it into the wine glass. How can you throw it so accurately? I just casually threw it. Li Fan didn't explain and pushed the third jar in front of Liang Ru. Come on, I'll cheer for you. I think you really want to get me drunk. Liang Ru snorted, causing Li Fan to laugh. You're simply a female god of wine. How can I get you drunk? What can't you do? It feels like you're omnipotent. However, this lady is stronger than you. As she spoke, Liang Ru raised the third jar of lost wine and drank it in one gulp. After drinking, Liang Ru's eyes were slightly blurred, but they quickly returned to normal. Come, it's your turn. You're awesome. This woman can really drink. It seems like she used to hang out in bars often. Cut the crap, it's your turn. Then I'll drink. Li Fan successfully drank the third jar of lost wine. The people next to them looked over and couldn't help but cheer for the two of them. This lost wine was not a joke. The two of them can drink so much, it's really amazing. There's only one jar left. Let's get something stronger. Seeing that Li Fan could also drink, Liang Ru's eyes lit up and she looked at Li Fan a few more times. She clapped her hands and called for the bartender. Bring the big glasses. Okay. The bartender also wanted to see how much these two people can drink. He quickly brought two big glasses and placed them on the table. Let's change to a more exciting way of drinking. Is it not exciting enough now? Not enough. As Liang Ru spoke, she poured the lost wine, Corona, Royal Salute, and a bottle of whiskey into the glasses in one go. Looking at the few kinds of wine mixed into one, everyone in the bar couldn't help but swallow a mouthful of saliva. Good Lord, if this wine is mixed, it would probably be strong enough. If an ordinary person drank it, they would probably be blinded. Who dares to drink this wine? It's too strong. Anyway, I don't dare. Fuck, why wouldn't I dare? I can do it. Then why don't you drink it and see? My stomach hurts today. I'll drink it tomorrow. Liang Ru did the same and also prepared a bottle of strong wine for Li Fan. Come, let's decide the winner for the last time. There's no need to decide. I'll drink first this time. Li Fan didn't want to take advantage of Liang Ru. He picked up the glass and drank it in one gulp. Li Fan felt that what he drank was not wine but raging flames. This scalding flame felt like it was going to burn through his intestines. How is this wine? It's like poison. Otherwise, why would they say it's poison? Amazing. Good. Seeing Li Fan finish this glass of wine, the bystanders finally couldn't help but praise. This is not a strong wine that ordinary people can drink. It's really amazing. Not bad. Even Liang Ru couldn't help but praise. Li Fan, I didn't expect that although your body is weak, your alcohol tolerance is not small. Alright, no matter what, you have entered my eyes. So the people you like are all big drunkards. Li Fan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. This is called like-minded. Liang Ru declined to comment. Come, this miss is going to drink to my heart's content. Wait. Li Fan pressed down on her glass. What if you finish this time and we still don't have a winner? What are you afraid of? There's plenty of wine here. Liang Ru rolled her eyes. Are you afraid that no one will pay for your wine? Right, what if you drink too much and refuse to pay? You damn it. Liang Ru turned around and glared at the bar owner. Put it on my tab. No problem, Miss Liang. The boss agreed without any hesitation. Li Fan mumbled inwardly. Does this bar owner know Liang Ru's true identity? Or is it because Liang Ru is just a regular customer here? Regardless, he couldn't underestimate her. Li Fan instructed Jing to investigate the bar owner in a low voice. At the same time, he looked at Liang Ru and raised his glass. Liang Ru's face was already flushed red. Would she really get drunk this time? Chapter 15-18. This newly concocted wine could be said to be much more powerful than a deep-water bomb. Not to mention women, even a man who drank a lot would feel dizzy after a glass of it. However, Liang Ru picked up the large cup and wasn't inferior at all. She downed it in one gulp. Even though Liang Ru was a woman who wasn't inferior to men, she couldn't take it anymore after drinking that large cup of wine. The two blushes on her face turned even redder, as though they were about to burn. At that moment, Liang Ru exuded the beauty of a drunken beauty. The surrounding people were intoxicated. The beauty was drunk and charming. That touch of charm was truly moving. Li Fan had seen countless beauties, but when he saw such charm, he felt his heart skip a beat. A man's hormones were at work. It was impossible for him to remain indifferent when he saw a beauty, unless Li Fan was castrated or made of iron. Li Fan, you let her drink too much. And Jing reminded Li Fan through the earpiece. It's not what I thought. She wants to drown her sorrows. Li Fan only said these words in a low voice. In short, be careful. Liang Ru's safety is the most important. And Jing exhorted again. Okay, got it. Li Fan hung up the communication and looked at Liang Ru in front of him. The young lady was clearly drunk. Her eyes were beginning to turn blurry as she looked at Li Fan with a little moisture in them. Li Yun. You bastard. Why you can't beat me in drinking? Again. Alright, you've already drunk too much. Li Fan couldn't help but carry Liang Ru before turning to the boss and saying, Boss, it's a deal. Put it on her tab. The boss nodded but gave him a warning look. Lad, be careful not to get yourself into trouble. In all honesty, I'm only sending her back to her dormitory. Li Fan exclaimed loudly, Boss, who do you think I am? What has it got to do with me, who you are? The boss was non-committal. I'm just reminding you. Alright, thank you, boss. Then, I'll have to trouble you to be a good person to the end. How about arranging a car for us? The boss's forehead was full of black lines, but with a wave of his hand, he really did order someone to buy a car. However, the sea was surrounded by crowded alleys. If it was a normal car, it would be very difficult to drive in. The boss prepared a pedal tricycle for them. Li Fan was a little speechless. He looked at the tricycle that was used to travel the streets of the imperial capital, and then looked at the owner. Is this okay? Of course, I can see that you also have some strength. Quickly send Miss Liang back. The boss patted Li Fan on the shoulder. Young man, Miss Liang is counting on you. Fuck. Alright, Li Fan was also speechless. He had no choice but to put Liang Ru on the back seat of the tricycle. Then, he stepped on the old tricycle and walked along the bustling alley towards Imperial City University in the suburbs. Boss, are we leaving? Are you going to the Drum Tower? Pull me. My friend drank too much. I'll give you more money. Along the way, Li Fan met many people. They all treated him as a cart driver and asked him about the price, making Li Fan not know whether to laugh or cry. Liang Ru, you girl, you're really a headache. At that moment, while Li Fan was working hard to pull the tricycle, Liang Ru was still crying and shouting at the back. Her voice was very loud. You're the most beautiful cloud in my sky. I'm your little apple. Liang Ru did not stop singing at the back. She sang one song after another, almost catching up to China's song library. Li Fan was also helpless. He would not let this girl drink so much next time. He had clearly said that playing the violin could solve her problems, but he did not expect her to solve them in such a radical way. Drowning one's sorrows with alcohol would only make one more depressed. Cutting the water with a knife would make the water flow even more. If alcohol could solve everything, Li Fan would not have to run around every day. He could just drink at home. Mommy, don't go. Daddy, just forgive her. I don't want you to get a divorce. Boo-hoo. As she sang, Liang Ru suddenly cried again. Li Fan did not say a word and allowed her to cry incessantly behind him. This girl had too many things suppressed in her heart. Her pain was different from his, but it was just as painful. In this world, not everyone was like him, shouldering the fate of all of China, or even the entire world, on his shoulders. Just like Liang Ru and the millions of people in the world, everyone had their own troubles. Family troubles, work troubles, and love troubles. Some were heavy, some were bitter, and some might even be a little sweet. But no matter which one it was, it added a touch of color to the world. As the saying went, love and hate were the 7 emotions and 6 desires of humans. Be it happiness or worry, they were indispensable. Happiness made people young, while worry made people mature. Li Fan, the school is already closed. Don't send her back. And Jing informed Li Fan through the earpiece. There's a hotel nearby. Take her there to rest. Holy shit, stop fooling around. How can a man and woman stay in the same room together? Li Fan said righteously. Fuck you. Who allowed the 2 of you to sleep in the same room? But I didn't bring my ID. I don't think she did either, right? Li Fan turned his head to take a look. Liang Ru didn't bring a bag or anything when she came out. He even specially checked Liang Ru's pocket. There was no identification in it either. We've already arranged it for you. Just go over. Holy shit, working for the government sure is convenient. Then I'll request to stay in the most expensive suite. Alright, do you want me to arrange for 2 healthcare facilities for you? Really? Li Fan. I was just joking. Why take it so seriously? Li Fan laughed. When did our and Jing's temper become so bad? It doesn't matter if you want to joke in private. This is work. And Jing seemed to roll her eyes. If you continue fooling around, I'll make a report. Yes. I'll definitely treat it seriously and ensure the safety of our Miss Liang Ru. Li Fan suddenly asked very seriously, I probably didn't sleep well last night. And Jing, can you chat with me? Screw you. Who wants to chat with you? But I'm very sleepy. Li Fan even yawned. If there's no one to chat with me, I'll fall asleep. How am I going to send Liang Ru to the hotel? Don't. I'll chat with you then. And Jing, when do you plan on finding a boyfriend? Why are you asking this? I'm curious. After all, you're the prettiest girl in our office. Humph, isn't there only one woman in our office? Isn't there an additional Director Ho now? Are you comparing me to Director Ho? Although she's in her 30s, she still has her charms. Unfortunately, she's a germaphobe. It'll probably be difficult for her to find a man in her life. Director Ho. Why you here? You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.